And we're live. Hello, everybody out there who may be tuning in tonight or at a future date. Welcome back to part 2 for the Die Hard Fans game. This is going to be an expedition engine game, which is a system that I kind of cobbled together out of various other pieces and parts from other systems that I really liked. This particular version is called Dead End. It's meant to kind of copy or encapsulate, the zombie apocalypse. This game in particular was originally set during the Game 3 of the World Series last year. So we're going to be picking up tonight where that game ended up leaving off because we ended up running a little over time. We are going to be down one of the players this evening, so we are going to just simply have those two characters that were being represented killed off because this game is very much kind of a quick turnover rate as far as characters go, and it's kind of built into the system that way. So before we really get started, I'm going to toss it over to my players and let them do their introductions, and then we'll get this gore fest started. So Dave, why don't you take us out?
Hey folks, I'm Dave with Mournblade Gaming, and I'm coming back with Ryan. I'll have to reacquaint myself with him, but that sounds really weird. But I'll also be playing Joey Diggs, and Alvin Michaels, rest in peace, was eaten out on the next to the dugout. So, yep, looking forward to bashing some heads.
Absolutely. Yes, we had a couple of casualties last game, and the idea is that hopefully they'll be meeting some NPCs and things that they can use to actually replenish the characters that they've lost. So next up is Baron.
What's up, everybody? I'm Baron. I'm over at the YouTube channel RWD Gaming. Yeah, live plays and stuff like that. Don't really have a whole lot of new stuff going on, so I'll get back to you on that. I'm playing Jen. I'm in the same boat as Dave, and I know that she is kind of a smart talker, and she's away from the group.
Excellent. Okay. Jose, you're up next.
Hey everybody, my name's Jose. I got the YouTube channel D20Say, and tonight I'm going to be playing Jesus, who's a sneaky scout. He's pretty much a janitor, and then Carlos, who's a tough soldier, and he's I guess a bodyguard.
All right, and last but not least, we have Jeff.
Yes, I am Jeff. I have a YouTube channel called Encounter Balance. Feel free to check out my own games there. I also do a podcast with our Dungeon Master Jeremy and a friend of ours, Chad Nick, called the Dudes of Yore, so check that out as well if you're interested. And yeah, I am playing Terry Jones, kind of a punk kid who got mixed up in all this nonsense, didn't even really care about baseball in the first place, and now he's here.
Excellent. Yeah, everybody who has talked about the channel, including the Dudes of Yore podcast, should have a link in the description of this video down below. Certainly go check them out, give them some love and some likes. So before we get this into high gear here, I am going to go ahead and warn everyone, this is a zombie apocalypse game. There's going to be gore. It's one of my games, so there's going to be language and possibly mature topics. You have been warned. If that's the kind of thing that irritates you or bothers you, then you really should not stay. As far as the system, it's a very, very simple one-page RPG. And yeah, basically, they've kind of covered it a little bit. You have a style and a roll. And it's a kind of roll under or over type affair, depending on what side of the stack you're going for. It should be fairly self-explanatory once we get going here. But before we do actually get going, does anybody have any questions, any of the players? No? No questions? Zooten. Okay. So, a little bit of a recap last time. You guys were all at the World Series, the Game 3, or whichever reason you might have found yourselves here. When all of a sudden things kind of went sideways. People in the audience started attacking one another. The stands kind of erupted in a bloodbath of violence as people started climbing over one another and some of them outright attacking each other, trying to bite, eat, claw each other apart. And you managed to kind of sequester yourself as a group down in one of the hallways that leads into the dugout, kind of between the locker room and the dugout. And you had hid there. And when things had somewhat quieted down, you decided to make your way across the field to the other dugout because the door that you were trying to get through was locked. So you ran across the field, ended up having a little bit of a run-in with some of the zombies who came down onto the field and chased you. And you managed to get into the other side of the stadium and have kind of been making your way through the hallways and staircases and whatnot that are kind of behind the scenes of the baseball game. You came up the stairs and managed to find 2 NPCs, one of which was another baseball player, and the woman, I believe, is a medic, if I'm not mistaken. I think she's a nurse. So you kind of picked them up, convinced them to stick with you, managed to press onward, where you ran into a sizable group of these zombies just outside of the door that you had just exited. And a pretty gnarly encounter followed where several of your members were torn apart. During this whole process, you have been hearing somebody over the announcer's speaker speaking to you, almost doing a kind of a twisted version of a play-by-play as to the events that have been unfolding. And this person has had a Russian accent thus far. So, if you guys are ready, then we're going to hop right into it. Okay. So, if each of you would, go ahead and kind of give me a little bit of a description of your character in the moments that follow this visceral exchange that you just had in this kind of wide hallway where several people just died.
I may be off on my character description in terms of making it canon. I believe I was like a brunette or something. I guess there really wasn't a distinguishable quality about me other than I was hanging out with this baseball player that was here. So now that he's gone and I was away from the group, I'm maybe just re-emerging here on the scene to see the carnage and this person being eaten alive.
Yeah, so, Jesus, he would be like 5'11", I would say. Slanky. He's wearing pretty much what somebody who cleaned toilets would wear. He got long brown hair and brown eyes. Just goofy looking guy. And then Carlos would be like built with like really short hair.
Yeah, so with Joey Diggs was a recent hire at IT firm, and he's really not into baseball, but he came because Alvin Michaels talked him into it, gave him, and plus, you know, who's an opportunity to kiss up to the CEO of the company, right? So, yeah, Joey Diggs is kind of a dirty blonde-haired kid, early to mid-20s. He hasn't seen a lot of violence. He's fresh out of college, so he's wearing like a polo shirt with probably a sweater over it, some Dockers of some sort, and yeah, he looks like what you would expect from corporate America. And then on the other hand, I think Ryan is sort of the, if I'm not mistaken, he was a pickup along the way that happened to be one of the baseball players. So he, yeah, so he's wearing an Indians jersey, Ryan Jones, as it were, and he is a better player than the late what was his name?
Todd Farlow.
Yeah, he is a better player than Todd, but he doesn't. He's kind of humble about it and didn't rub it in his face very much. So that is who I am playing.
Yeah, and I am playing Terry. He is a younger kid. He's got like a hoodie. Kind of comes across as a punk. Definitely the least mature and youngest of the people here. And out of the last fight, he had spent most of it hidden behind one of the metal doors, not contributing and trying not to die.
And though the tactic may not be the most brave, it definitely seemed to be effective, as obviously those who were not hiding, some of them didn't make it, and some of those who did are still here. Yeah, this is the picture of Ryan, and the other one that you had picked up, I think Baron might have taken this one as an NPC, is Maria Mortensen. And
She come with stats.
Yeah, she is a nurse. So she is a determined medic. And she has a grace and force of 4. A knowledge and instinct of 3. A subtlety and flair of 5. Speed and control of 7. And a charm and intimidate of 4. So, Dave needs Ryan's. Okay, yes. He has a brash soldier. Grace and force is 6. Knowledge and instinct is 4. Subtlety and flair is 7. Speed and control is 3. Charm and intimidate is 2. So you guys have just finished this extreme fight for your lives. And most of you are at least somewhat covered with blood and brain matter. Most of you have some kind of weaponry. I believe a few of you had, I think somebody had some baseballs. I think somebody might have even actually gotten themselves a bat. And if I'm not mistaken, I think somebody had some full cans of beer. And then a stanchion, which I had to look that up. I didn't know what it was called. It's actually one of the things that a rope goes between, the little stand. Somebody had one of those, and I think
that was me, actually. That sounds familiar.
Okay, excellent. And I want to say that maybe somebody had a trash can.
I think Jose had the trash can, if I remember correctly. But I had the baseball bat. I had the baseball bat. Joey had not Joey. Todd.
Okay. Todd
had the baseball.
So there is now a gore-covered baseball bat kind of lying near his body.
Does Maria have anything?
I don't know that she did, actually. I don't think she was armed.
If not, would the party be okay with me grabbing that, or does someone else want to grab that?
That's fine. Joey's standing there kind of shaking, actually, as he looks down at himself and he realizes that he pissed his pants. And he grabs a can of beer and pulls out this big pin that's in his pocket, and he shotguns a beer. And then he's standing there shaking, and he burps, and he's like, and he does another one because he's freaking the fuck out. He's not used to violence.
Yeah, Jesus is gonna pull out like a rag out of his back pocket, and he's gonna give it to him and be like, "Here, if you want to try to dry yourself."
He's kind of looking at him like, "Are you making fun of me?"
Kinda.
He just takes it and starts wiping himself off.
So up ahead, you can hear that the sounds of the exchange that you just had has definitely drawn the attention of what sounds like it's probably more of these creatures. As you can kind of hear this somewhat guttural kind of snarl growl noise that is kind of echoing off of these painted concrete cinder block walls that just kind of go on and kind of have this small curve to them, this kind of shallow curve that follows the shape of the stadium itself. So you can't see these things yet, but you can definitely hear them coming. And before long, their shadows actually start to play against the outer wall of this curved hallway. Kind of along the side, you can see a couple of different kinds of concession stands, one of which has, nachos and hot dogs and that kind of crap. And the next one is some kind of knockoff of Starbucks, that serves coffee. I think there was also, if I'm not mistaken, one of these small kind of golf carts that was parked nearby that actually had, if I'm not mistaken, a pitching machine in the back of it. So, what would you like to do?
Ryan is going to go over and take a look at the pitching machine, considering that he has been playing baseball probably since youth. He's probably had a little bit of experience. He may not be able to fix it, but he knows how to make sure it's working, right? So he kind of checks it to see if it whirs up and sees if there's any balls in it.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. The thing's not a complicated machine, and I would imagine being here in the stadium that it's one that is kept in good repair. So it cranks right up without any effort whatsoever. And yeah, you see there are two basically 5-gallon buckets that are just full of baseballs. And the baseballs aren't necessarily in the best of condition. They're definitely ones that are used for batting practice, so they're a little beat up and bruised, but they'll probably work.
And Ryan's kind of standing there and he says, didn't he know how to drive? Like, really drive?
I think Jesus would look at him and like raise his hand. He would be like, "I drive one of those all the time." If that's what you're asking.
Nice. All right. And he sees Terry, who, if I'm thinking, kind of slinking out from where he was hiding. He's like, "Come here for a second, kid."
What is it? He says without approaching.
Come here, let me show you this machine.
He kind of like raises an eyebrow warily.
Well, I'm just thinking that you'd be able to launch these balls at him from a distance, and I figure you're probably familiar with the guiding and maybe aiming you played video games, right? And
Fair enough. Good point. He's gonna kind of trot over.
so Ryan quickly just goes down. He's like, okay, this is how you turn it on. And basically, if you just pick these gallon-sized buckets up, you just dump them in here. But then you guide it. You can just swivel it this way, and you can raise and lower the arm. As you can see, it's usually locked in place, but there's this pin here. Usually just leave it locked, you know. But once you get it going, you just dump these balls in there and you just start guiding them. So when it comes to that, I was thinking you might be pretty good at that.
Yeah, that's actually a decent idea.
Cool. He kind of claps him on the shoulder and he's like, thanks for coming to the game. Sorry it turned out so shitty. And Joey's starting to feel the effects of the buzz, and he's like, so are we going to get the fuck out of here? Do you know how to get out of here? Jesus?
What are you looking at me?
Don't you know how to get out of here?
Yeah. And if I remember correctly, we were going to a room that somebody was on a picklock or something.
It was the security room, I believe, because they had weapons.
Yes, I believe that was the call.
Gotcha. So we're still doing that now?
I don't know. We've had 6 months to think about it.
Alright, well, yeah, Jesus will say, yeah, I know the way, and ask everybody who can fit in the cart to get in the cart.
Okay, so those of you who are going in the cart, let me know who you are.
Joey just walks up there like he owns the place, and he gets right in the front seat next to the driver's seat. And he's kind of like looking at everyone, waiting for them to challenge him. Sorry, Jeremy, I cut you off there.
No, you're good. Like I said, it could probably fit 3, maybe 4 people at the most.
Terry is going to slink into one of the back seats while everyone else is looking around trying to figure it out.
Kind of as the rest of you are kind of looking on as several individuals are piling onto this small golf cart, you see the first of these creatures, these zombies, starting to round this gentle curve in this hallway and have spotted you now and are putting the haste to their pursuit as they are now just clamoring as fast as they can towards you.
Now, is that the way we need to go or the way behind us?
You can get there by going either direction, so I'll leave that to you.
But yeah, Jesus would like turn on the golf cart and just like step on the gas to go forward. And while he's doing that, Carlos is gonna try to like rush to the nearest one, try to hit it, so that way we can, go.
Yeah, Ryan's going to do the same thing as he looks over at Terry and says, be ready if you have to turn that thing on. Conserve the balls, though.
Come back for us, preferably after you get the door open or something, maybe. Because I don't think Jen or Maria are going to be getting on the cart, so.
It doesn't go that fast. You can probably run almost keeping pace with it. Right, Jeremy? Golf carts don't go that fast. Usually a moderately healthy person can keep up with a golf cart.
Yeah, somebody who is got at least a little bit of decent, experience running, is in decent shape, could probably keep up with it without too much trouble.
Not me.
So you would understand, though, that where they are going is probably a decent amount of distance between where you are currently there. So them coming back for you may or may not be something that they're going to be able to do.
We'll catch up then.
Okay. So it sounds like the plan is to try to push through this crowd of creatures and go beyond them. So these creatures round this corner, it looks like there's probably about 10 of them, give or take. And those of you in the golf cart are probably going to reach it first. So Jesus, driving the golf cart, is the intention to try to use this golf cart as a weapon? Try to mow down one or two of them?
Pretty much.
Okay, cool. So how are you going to accomplish that? What stat is it that you're going to attempt to use?
I guess instant.
Okay. I'm going to try to see if maybe you can get a good feeling for how to pick your path through these things so as not to get hung up or get any of them on top of you.
Yeah, what I was thinking is maybe he's gonna try to drive the way where he's like in the middle and he can try to clip him like against the wall or something so he can keep pushing through.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I would say that while you're probably not an expert at driving a golf cart through a throng of people, or at least let's hope that you're not, that you're at least prepared. Because though this thing is not necessarily meant for running people down, these are not exactly normal people. So go ahead and roll your 2 dice. I believe we are working with D10s. Yeah.
All right, I got 2 successes and one is the same number. I don't know if that does anything.
Yes, if you roll your number exactly, you earn yourself a narrow escape point. So definitely make sure that you keep track of that. Because at any point, if you have to roll your health die, you can instead cash in a narrow escape point and tell me how you narrowly escape getting mauled. So you definitely want to keep track of those. But that's 2 successes, which means that you do it and you do it well. So you kind of manage to bump several of these things, clipping them kind of about the knees, the shins. As they're kind of reaching down, you hit 1 or 2 of them in the shoulder, kind of cause them to roll away from you. And you manage to basically bore a path straight through a thin spot in this group of 10, knocking at least 3 of them down to the ground. As he is zipping through this crowd, does Ryan want to try any kind of attacks or anything as they're going through?
Yeah, he wants to run up there and try to do a just like a wild swing at their heads.
Is he not still in the cart?
No, Ryan wasn't in the cart.
Oh, it was Dave. Not Dave. Joey.
Joey, yeah. Joey is kind of in the cart, just bracing himself at the moment.
Okay, so Joey's going to abstain. He's just going to kind of hold on.
Yeah,
so
did
Ryan
we put the nurse in the cart? We could have. Can we say that we did?
Baron.
Yeah, she can go in the cart.
Okay. So she's probably in the back sitting next to Terry. Is there anything that she wants to do as they're kind of barreling through the crowd?
I've been on the back of a golf cart. I'm holding the fuck on. So there's not much else you can do. Unless
especially in a ride that's this bumpy.
I don't foresee I have a whole lot of room with this baseball pitching machine here as well. So I'm holding on.
Makes sense. Okay. So then we come to those of you who are on foot. And I definitely heard that Ryan, and it sounded like not Jesus, but this the other
Carlos.
Sounded like the two of them, at the very least, were charging forward.
Yep.
Okay. So whichever one of you wants to go first, go for it. Tell me what you're doing.
I would imagine that Ryan then takes the lead and starts charging forward with speed and force. He's trying to strike as many as he can with the baseball bat. So, so using force, how many dice would that be to just knock it out of the park?
Well, I would definitely say that he is an expert with a bat in his hands, and he's kind of gotten himself a little bit used to having to use this bat in this manner. And truth be told, there's not a whole lot of difference in the way you use a bat, whether you're hitting a ball or trying to hit somebody in the head. So go ahead and use 3 dice.
Right on. 2 5s and an 8. His force is a 7. Or I'm sorry, what's his force? 6, right? I think it was a 6.
Yeah, it's a 6.
So he got 1 over.
Okay. He was going for grace versus force, so he only got 1 success.
Okay.
Because grace is a lower number. So, no, I'm sorry, force. He was going for force.
Yeah, he was trying to just
higher
knock
numbers.
it out of the park.
Yeah, so he got 2 that were below his 6. So that means that he did it, and he did it well. So yeah, these things effectively don't have a health die. So if you manage to hit, you can clip them. So I would say you probably get 2 of them.
Very cool.
Describe it if you'd like.
Yeah, as he's coming up, he just kind of plants his feet, and he just does that whole, you see the body just crank as he just pulls it up, and he's going with an upward kind of swing, and it kind of levels out as it hits the first one, and the first one kind of slams into the second one, and you see the bigger splatter from the first one, but the second one just kind of slams into it, but he gets caught up on the second one and is unable to hit a third one but he gets 2 of them out of the way as he's trying to continue moving.
So that means that there's 3 of them that are currently kind of scrambling for their footing, trying to get back up after Jesus has knocked them over with his cart, and now Ryan has managed to take out completely 2 of them. So as Carlos is closing with this throng, what is he doing?
He's pretty much gonna try to use his control to pretty much tap them in the head before they get up, or at least keep them in the ground.
Okay, yeah. So he's gonna kind of take his time a little bit and make sure that his swings are accurate. Okay, so what is it that Carlos does again?
What's up?
What is it that he does, like, for an occupation?
Oh, he's a tough soldier. Well, he's pretty much a bodyguard.
He's pretty much a pimp.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I would definitely say that this is something that he has practiced at. So he is an expert. And what is he wielding?
He has a bat.
Okay. I would definitely say that it's something that he very likely could have used in the past. So go ahead and use your 3 dice.
Alrighty, so I said I was using control, right? Yeah. So I got 2 successes and 1 failure.
Okay. Yeah, so you managed to likewise take out 2 of these, and feel free to describe it.
Yeah, they were probably trying to grab the wall and get up, and he pretty much just hit them in the side of the head, getting them in the floor. That
puts 4 of these monstrous things down for good. Two of them were the ones that had been knocked down previously and were trying to get back up. So that means there's still one that is scrambling for its footing, and it leaves.
Jen still
5
has to
additional.
go.
What's that?
The Jen still has to go on foot.
Yep, absolutely.
I think she's kind of in shock at seeing the remains of Todd, and kind of just the gore of what's happened so far. So she's kind of maybe scrambling to find a weapon, because up until now she hasn't had anything. So like a fire extinguisher or something on the walls that I could scoop up.
Yeah, definitely. You've passed several different fire extinguishers and things of that nature, and there's definitely one that's not very far. So you can.
So I think maybe one of the last one that got knocked over by the golf cart got thrown into the wall by this fire extinguisher, and I kind of just pick it up and quickly smack it in the head with one motion. Yeah. I guess I'm really working against myself doing physical activity with this character, but I'm just hitting it in the head. No real, I would say, subtlety, maybe force or instinct even.
Okay. So yeah, I'm good with either force or instinct. Both could make sense in the situation. It definitely doesn't sound like something that she is necessarily an expert at doing. But you know, she sounds like she's at least getting caught up in the situation enough, and she's decided to arm herself and is ready to take action. So I would say that she's prepared.
So 2.
Yes, sir.
All right, I got a 4 and a 7. And we said instinct? Or force, you said? I'm going to go with force. Her force is a 2, so that's 2 failures.
Okay. So she got no successes. That means that there is a complication somehow.
There's a major complication.
Yeah. So she actually goes to slam this fire extinguisher down on top of this thing's head and misses. However, what she does is she actually strikes this fire extinguisher down on one of those kind of door catches that keeps the door from completely slamming into the wall, and it punctures that fire extinguisher, and the fire extinguisher just goes all over the place, covering her and most of that area in this kind of white, thick foam that very quickly expands and reeks.
I probably got some of my friends here too.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, with that, I'm kind of just stunned a bit, because I'm sure there was some force pressure changes there. So
yeah, go ahead and if you would roll me a grace roll.
All right, that's on my alley.
And you're not prepared, so let's do this at 1 die.
Okay. Aha! I succeed with a narrow escape added.
Excellent. Okay, so make sure you mark down your narrow escape. And that's a success, so you managed it, but with a slight complication. Okay, so what footwear are you wearing?
I'd probably say like flip-flops or something.
Okay, so
in combination with this stuff in like my face and hair, I'm sure my visibility is lowered.
So you managed to keep your footing and not slip in all of this stuff. However, you have lost one of your flip-flops.
Curses.
Could come into play later. We never know. Okay. So there is still quite a few of them that are remaining. I believe 5, if my count is correct. So they are going to turn on those of you who have not yet pushed through the crowd, those of you who are with the cart, and are going to attempt to attack you. So going up to, let's see, there's Ryan, Carlos, and Jen that are in the group. So there's going to be 2 on Ryan, 2 on Carlos, and then the one that Jen attempted to smash is going to try to return the favor. So Ryan, 2 of them come up to you and are going to attempt to kind of gouge at you with their claw-like fingers. Okay. That is 2 hits. So if you could describe to me how it is that you're going to attempt to get away from these things.
So they're clawing at him?
Correct.
And it's 2 at once, right?
Yes, it is.
So with one of them, he's going to reach out and try to push his hand into its throat. And the other one, he's going to try to hit it with the bat. So that's defense, right?
Okay. So it sounds like possibly force. Just trying to literally just shove it away from you as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a die for your force.
That's a 5. So it's under my force number.
Okay, good. So that's a success. So you managed to stave that one off by pushing him away from you, kind of getting a little bit of space between the 2 of you. And the second?
And the second one, I'm going for probably speed, trying to, whack it, hit at it with the bat.
Okay, so go ahead and roll that one.
That is a 4, and my speed is a 3. I'm sorry, it is a 4, so right on the number.
Okay, excellent. So that means that you get a narrow escape point.
Cool.
So make sure you mark that down for him. And that is a success. Okay, cool. So you managed to also kind of whip that bat around fast enough to actually knock this thing's hands away from you, where it's kind of reaching out to try to claw at your flesh. Okay, the 2 that are coming up to Carlos, one of them is going to attempt a claw type maneuver and is going to... No, that's actually a hit. Okay, and then the second one's trying a bite. And that is also a hit. Okay, so you have these 2 that are coming at you, Carlos. How are you going to attempt to stave them off?
He's gonna try to swing for the hills, just forcefully, try to hit them before they get to him.
You're attempting one swing to kind of get rid of both of them?
Yeah, sorry, my internet is...
Yeah, I'm kind of locked. Uh-oh.
Okay, that was weird. Can you guys hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, for some reason my internet's acting up. But yeah, he would take a big swing.
Okay, so one big swing. So go ahead and roll 2 dice. You said force?
Yes, and I got 2 successes.
Excellent. So you managed to kind of swing this bat kind of almost through the first one and through the second one. And though it's not enough to necessarily kill these creatures, it is enough to knock them away from you and keep them from getting to you. Last but not least, the one that is kind of on the ground, reaching up at the fire extinguisher covered Jen, is going to try to grab a hold of her midsection, essentially, and just rend downwards. Okay, Jen, what are you doing to try to escape this?
I think in combination with this thing exploding in my hands and kind of the panic of me failing to incapacitate this thing, I'm kind of just panic, tossing the fire extinguisher into it and just trying to get back, flee.
So probably speed.
Yep.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a single die for your speed.
All right, my speed is speed's a 7. I rolled an 8.
Oh, okay. Which means that you failed to get back fast enough. And that means you need to roll your health die.
So I picture I probably slip.
Mm-hmm. Is that missing flip-flop?
I got a 1, so this is all bad.
Oh, okay. So would you please describe to me what it looks like as Jen meets her grisly end within sight of Todd's freshly dead body?
With as quickly as I picture this transpiring, it's kind of like a cheesy horror flick. Like I go to smack this thing, it like shows my feet slip from my loose sandal that I was about to lose. Like punctures, explodes, lose the sandal. I slip and fall, and it's not the zombie that kills me right off the bat. I smack my head on the ground. Just one of those like jarring smacks to the back of the head. Immediately disoriented. There's probably like a small bit of blood there on the tile. And this thing's just kind of rapidly on me, a foam covered mess itself, mixing up this white foam with red blood as it tears into me. My screams heard through the hallway.
And the rest of you, within maybe even an arm's reach, some of you, from this display, watch in horror as Jen is torn asunder. Several of the others who are nearby give up their pursuit of prey that's fighting back and pounce upon the poor girl on the ground and have a feast. So, the rest of you, we have now gone through everyone's turns, and we can either start trying to roll initiative so that we actually have a formal order of things, or you guys can take turns as you see fit.
I'm fine with the way it's going.
Okay.
I mean, the golf cart's probably in decent way up now.
Yeah, the golf cart's probably put a good 20, 30 feet between the backside of this this remaining group of zombies. So is the plan on the golf cart, Jesus, to continue?
Yes. Especially after hearing that horrible scream, he ain't turning back.
Okay. So Jesus, with no intentions of being a hero, steps on the pedal, making this engine kind of whir, kind of a whirring whine as it screeches its tires on this slick, kind of sealed concrete floor and puts even more distance between them. Those of you who are on the golf cart, though most of you do not have any kind of ranged weaponry, there is one of you who does. Is there anything that you intend to try to do with that, Terry? Uh-oh, did we lose Jeff?
No, I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
As potentially cruel as it may be to say, I think Terry probably sees the people back there as a good distraction, and that using this pitching thing would bring attention to him instead of them. So he is going to temporarily refrain from using that.
All right. A golf cart full of heroes, it sounds like. So you continue to leave the rest of this mess kind of behind you. Ryan and Carlos, the two of you are standing amongst this throng, or what was left of it. I believe that there are 5 of them. Yeah, I think there's still 5 of them remaining. What would you like to do?
Well, Carlos, since the zombies are feasting on her, I mean, he's gonna look at her and be like, "Fuck," but she's already dead, and yeah, so he's just gonna try to walk by with his bat up, like ready to hit one if they try to turn around.
Okay. Yeah, so as you kind of get close, you know, they're very much involved in what's going on in front of them, much like your pizza. And okay, so yeah, you kind of come up behind this one, raised your baseball bat high. He's completely caught unawares. So do your thing.
You said there were 5 of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think he would turn around and kind of try to whisper to Ryan, "Should we just go, or do you want to do this?"
Hey, that's you, brother. You're Ryan.
Sorry. Yeah. He is looking at Jen, and for a minute there, you see the blood dripping off the bat as he's holding it. And that's what he says is he goes, "Yeah, we're going to do this." And he starts walking over to you and he's like, "What are we doing?"
Well, they're really busy, so I think we should just try to strike
Knock them
one
out.
after the other. Yeah, hit him in the back of the head.
Hell yeah. And he just walks up there and he just grips the bat and prepares to take some swings, knock it out of the park.
Okay. So yeah, both of you can have 3 dice. Again, these things are kind of somewhat at your mercy right now because they're definitely otherwise occupied.
I got 3 successes.
2, 9, and 4, which is under force. That is 1 unsuccess. So a 2 and a 4 are a success.
Okay. That is still a total of 5 successes. So quickly and handily, the 2 of you managed to clip the 5 of these individuals in the back of the skull as they're kind of hunched over this helpless girl. And you end the threat that is immediately pressing in this this hallway. And you are free then to kind of turn, and the 2 of you jog down this concrete corridor after the golf cart. The golf cart, meanwhile, has been continuing onwards, very quickly leaving, with the curvature of this hallway, leaving the scene behind you where none of you can even see what's going on anymore. Before you are aware that the 2 of your compatriots are safe and are coming to join you. You continue forward, and you end up having to come to a stop as there is a security gate, one of those kind of accordion metal gates that has been pulled all the way across the hallway and is shut and appears to be locked. So through this curved corridor, your passage is now blocked. You'll either have to venture into the actual seating of the stadium, or you'll have to find a door that will let you into a different part of the underground portion of the stadium to get around this. Or you'll have to figure out a way to get through the door.
Yeah, and Joey actually just starts saying, "Fuck! Fuck! Fuck! What the fuck? My life sucks." He looks over at Jesus and he says, "Don't you know the key code to this?"
Yeah, would any of my keys like work on that or no?
I definitely think that there's a chance that they could. So let's leave it up to a die roll. Let's see.
Joey actually walks up behind him and starts watching the way he's doing it, uncomfortably close, but also in his own mind because he works in computers and he's familiar with a little bit of hacking. So he's trying to watch what he's doing.
Cool. Okay, so let's go with a knowledge roll. I would definitely say that you're an expert in this. Let's leave it at 2 though.
Oh, he's trying to see if Jesus can do it first.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Do you want me to roll 2 or?
Yes.
Okay, so I have no idea how the hell I did it because my knowledge kind of sucks, but I did get 2 successes.
Excellent. So yes, apparently this is either a door that functions on the same set of codes that you have, or you do actually physically have a key for it. Either way, you make quick work as you go up to it, fiddle through it, and manage to actually get it unlocked. And you're able to start sliding it open.
Yeah, Carlos will probably like jump in there and help him because you know his is all like scrawny and shit.
And
Yeah,
as you go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say Joey's all excited and he's like, yeah, and he runs back and he gets in the cart like, let's go.
You start to pull the sliding accordion thing open, and you actually have a little bit of difficulty doing so, because on the other side there is all kinds of carnage. There's probably 50 to 60 bodies that are in pieces, and piled on top of one another and spattered on the walls and the floor, all over and up against this doorway. It definitely looks like a group of people got kind of trapped on the other side of this doorway and did not make it out.
Yeah, after saying this, Jesus is just gonna like get in the corner and just bend down and start puking. So it'll be like, ugh!
I think Maria, she's probably been on the back of this golf cart like up until now, kind of just doing everything she can to hold on and keep herself together, focusing on the task at hand. But as she kind of hears Ryan scream out, she'll turn around and see this carnage, and she'll pull a chain out from under her shirt, and she's holding something in her hand and now muttering something under her breath.
As the 4 of you are kind of reacting to this scene, taking it in, you hear the sounds of running footfalls kind of approaching from the direction you came from. There's definitely the sound of somebody running, coming up on you.
Carlos is trying to get into a corner and ready his bat. Jesus is probably still like throwing up over there.
Would this be the running of the other people coming down the hallway, or?
If you are waiting for them to reveal themselves, yes. The 2 people that were a part of your group just moments before, Ryan and Carlos, they both come running around the corner, covered in even more gore than they were before. And there is no sign of Jen.
Yeah, with the scream that she let out, I don't think there was a question. I think there was just like, as they kind of came around the corner, it was a confirmation of what was already known.
So, faced with a hall full of bodies, at least in part, What is the plan?
Does it even look possible for us to get our go-kart or a golf cart through here?
Yes, but it would take some manual labor first. Someone would have to make some room.
I don't know if I'm the one to make the call on that one, but probably not worth our time.
Yeah, I would think we're better off on foot.
How many
Yeah, by the
bodies
time
are in the
we-
way? Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
By the time that we clean up all the mess, we probably could have already gotten through on foot just as quickly, if not faster. Seems like a waste of time and energy.
Absolutely, I agree.
Just then, you hear a scream come from just a little ways past where these bodies are. It definitely sounds like a male voice. And the scream is not one of fear or pain that you've kind of started to grow accustomed to somewhat. This one sounds like enjoyment, possibly. And you hear what sounds like a leaf blower.
So at this point, Ryan and everyone is kind of congregated at this gate, right? Okay.
Yeah.
What direction is the sound?
Beyond the bodies.
And how many bodies? How high is it piled?
It's not all that high, maybe 2 feet at the most, but there's probably 50 to 60 bodies here.
And the worst part about this is we've kind of figured out that hitting them on the head is what solves the problem. And it seems like everyone is turning. What if they were to start up while we're walking through them?
We start to run through them.
Yeah, and then one reaches up and grabs your ankle and bites it. Then what?
We play the odds.
We can always double tap them.
Did Jose freeze? There he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
he did for a second. And see.
Shit, you guys heard anything I said?
He said we can always double tap him.
Okay, yeah. My bad, my internet's acting up a little. So, yeah, I said that, or we can just go the other way, whichever you guys want to do.
On the other side, where you heard the noise of the leaf blower, you hear a noise. Something pneumatic sounds like it releases a large amount of air pressure, and there's a smash sound that immediately follows, kind of a wet, sickly crunch.
Yeah, if we go forward, we should definitely be cautious. I don't like the sound of this.
If we go forward, where is it leading us to?
This would be probably now the shortest amount of distance for you to travel to get to the security room.
Yep, time is money. Yeah, Ryan's just sitting there considering if he should smash all the skulls and just start dragging the bodies out of the way or not. But Can we move the cart on this side of the gate and then lock the gate? Or are they
Again, you
all
probably
piled
have
up?
to. Yeah, you probably have to clear some space. It looks basically like this throng of people got caught up against this gate. So the gate was kind of the edge of where all of these bodies is.
Yeah, Ryan is just standing there, and he's just kind of, he reaches down and he just kind of holds his stomach for a second as he's looking at these piles and he's considering, and he just kind of steps around and just starts to heave at the sight of all of this gore against the wall. Takes a couple seconds of just emptying the contents of his stomach, and he's like, we got to get the cart on the other side. And he just starts smashing skulls. Do you want me to roll for that, or just
No, you start doing the what work you consider being necessary.
And enough to basically just drag enough so that we can pull the cart in.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely taking a little bit of time. A lot of these bodies are kind of tangled up with each other, and none of it is clean work. But you managed to start making some room enough so that Jesus can start pulling the golf cart forward. And as you do so, you hear another thump and another splat, followed by a woo! And you see a figure starting to emerge as a zombie kind of falls onto the floor and skids out into plain view. Its head is completely and totally caved in with a full beer can protruding from the front of its forehead. And an individual steps out just afterwards. And this individual is shirtless and is covered with blood. He has a mullet that is somewhat slicked back with the gore that he is covered in. And he has a decidedly joyful expression on his face. This individual is wearing a t-shirt cannon, the kind that they would normally launch rolled up t-shirts out into the audience with. However, apparently his is filled with beer cans that he is using as projectiles. He kind of rounds the corner and sees the group of you standing there, and he stops dead in his tracks, levels the t-shirt cannon in your direction, and he says, "What the hell do we have here?"
Well, we all could talk. He mumbles under his breath, probably better than you. And sounds like you can still talk, which is a lot better than a lot of these things.
You fuckers kill all these things right here?
Ryan takes a second to look at the other folks like, should I tell him yes?
Yeah, Jesus would probably shake his head like, yes.
And Ryan just says, no, but we have been killing them along the way, trying to get the hell out of this thing.
Oh, damn. I was going to congratulate you on your handiwork. But,
well, there's a lot of them back there if you'd like to take a look.
Oh, I'll just take your word for it. You seem like you might be somewhat capable, given your dress, manner of attire. So, we've got ourselves some fellow survivors. My name is Billy Gibbons of the Gibbons clan. You looking for some added muscle? He kind of raises his eyebrow dangerously high.
Yeah, I think that we could use some help.
And straight you could. Everybody needs a little bit of Billy Gibbons.
I guess so. Ryan just kind of puts the bat on his shoulder, and Joey's just sitting there kind of biting his thumb, just trying to figure out what to do next.
He kind of starts striding over, and as he gets closer, he actually takes a small little leap into the air and lands with both of his motorcycle riding boots onto the skull of a small teenage child who was laying on the ground, spattering the contents of its skull across the floor, and goes, "Man, I love it when they pop like that." Ha ha ha!
You look like you've done this before.
I've been ready for this day forever.
Where are you from?
Why are you asking? You a government man?
Do I look like a government man as he looks down at his jersey?
That's the thing. They never look like government men. That's how they get you.
I've been playing baseball since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know who you are. I'm just fucking with you. Yeah, I live out in the woods. It's a small little place you probably never heard of.
Right. So we need to clear a way to get the fuck to the security place. And
Security? Okay. Oh, he kind of thumbs his nose. I see what you're cooking. All
you hear
right.
this as Joey opens another beer.
I think Carlos is probably looking at Ryan thinking, like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But he would, like, get next to him and he would be like, yeah, so are we going to just stand here and keep chit-chatting? Or
He kind of points at Carlos. That man right there is a bona fide killer. He knows what's going on. Time to get neck deep.
So, Billy, how fast could you clear these bodies so we can get that cart down here?
Golf. Oh, yeah, sure. Why the hell not? And he starts just kind of like kicking them out of the way with his boots.
And Ryan's kind of helping him, smashing the skull here and there.
Takes a few more minutes, but you certainly managed to get the job done. So, Billy Gibbons has now joined your party. For those of you who are currently rocking one character, if you'd like to pick up him as a second, you may do so. Just let me know, and I will give you his stats if you would like that.
Oh, man, I would really like to hear Jeff speak in a southern accent like that.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
Oh, come on, Jeff.
That'd be awesome.
That's funny.
Well, if you don't want him, I'll take him.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, Baron. We have Billy Gibbons. His style is crazy.
Yeah.
His role is killer.
Better.
His grace versus force is a 9. His knowledge versus instinct is an 8. His subtlety versus flair is a 6. His speed versus control is a 4. And his charm versus intimidate is an 8.
I think I like this character.
It was one where I came across the picture and I was like, yeah, he might have to be.
sorry, I don't know.
Lost you again, Jose.
Jose, I think you need to reset your router, bro.
I got about half a word out of you before it hung up. So you are able to quickly clear out some more room of these bodies, make enough room for the cart to pull forward and close the gate back behind you. So what's next?
Security! We need to get over to the security room, right?
I think at this point, Billy would have loaded another beer from like a satchel of discarded beers that he's found in his patrol through this place. He'll load up another one into this t-shirt cannon and fire it like a zombie that he hears come around the corner. Well, when I came by the security office on my way this way, there was quite a few outside the door. Could be fun. I'm not doing a yeehaw.
So I imagine the passage is clear to get back on the cart, right?
Yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah, Jesus would get back on it to like drive it, but Carlos would go ahead with Billy so that way if any zombies come.
Okay. So those of you who are going on the cart manage to load back up, clear the road, so to speak, enough to get through and continue onward, trying to reach the security office.
Yeah, I would imagine that Ryan is up there with Gibbons and trying to help clear the way.
Okay. Yeah, for a while, you don't come across any other zombies or other colorful characters. And it's kind of a nice reprieve. But soon you manage to get to a spot where you're going to have to basically cross the larger portion of the gift shop, kind of out front of the gift shop. And there is a veritable sea of these things. You heard the noise well enough away in front of you that a couple of you may have been able to trot forward and get a peek. But you're guessing that there's probably 100 of these creatures milling about in this area here. It's going to be very, very hard to get across here unseen.
I think Jesus would look at everybody and he would be like, I have a little idea if you guys want to hear it. And he would pretty much tell them that, about taking a bat and jamming it to the gas pedal so that way the car just goes straight by itself down the corridor.
That's one option. Is there any chance there's some lighter fluid in the gift shop?
I would imagine so.
We just came from the food court area.
Yes. Yeah, it was kind of a nacho stand and hot dog place and stuff back behind you.
How far back is that?
Place.
Sure, we could grab like a propane tank or something that they would have used for like the I don't know if they use propane tanks, but
sure, why not?
That sounds reasonable.
It's an action movie, basically. So yeah, absolutely.
And we got baseballs, so maybe shooting a baseball out of this t-shirt cannon at the right angle. Oh.
So Ryan sprints back to grab as many propane tanks that he can, and probably gets about 2 of them. He drops the bat where he was, and do they have at least 2 that are unhooked up? Okay, so he grabs those and he just starts running back with them. And what we could do is we could just light them and just throw them into him and like a Molotov cocktail, or we could throw them up in the air and then just have them explode, or we could soak a ball in lighter fluid. What is going to be the most cool action movie sort of thing? What do you think, Jeff? There's a hell of a lot of shirts in here.
Well, you can always tie up like a bunch of shirts to the propane tank and light it on fire and let the cart go that way.
And just to clarify, you guys are kind of standing a little ways back from where this horde is, and they are out in front of the gift shop. So if somebody's going to try to go get anything out of the gift shop, it's definitely going to be kind of a stealth mission type situation to get in and out of there without being seen.
What region was this in again? What area or what city are we in?
I think I actually said it in Houston.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly.
The Houston Astros playing the Indians?
Yeah, sure. I don't think that's actually what happened in the World Series, but whatever. Close enough.
Okay. In this universe, it did.
Exactly.
We need someone to get in quickly or quietly. I'm not too bad at that. We need some supplies.
Yeah, Ryan, looking at you is like, you look like the type of guy that could do this.
All right. So thus far, Terry has volunteered. Anybody else going with him?
Jesus would go since he's pretty sneaky too.
Okay. So Jesus and Terry, both of you kind of slink closer using what you have available as far as columns, the large trash cans that they use in these stadiums and things of that nature to try to steadily get closer to the gift shop. Both of you, if you would, please go ahead and roll against your grace or subtlety, whichever you prefer. I'll leave it up to you as to whether or not you might be experts at sneaking or being stealthy. But I would say that both of you qualify for being prepared, so you're at least going to get 2 dice.
Yeah, I would imagine, if it's okay with you, that Terry would probably be pretty decent at it. He's kind of he's not a criminal, but he is kind of a hooligan in some senses. So he's probably had his fair share of trying to get in and out of places quietly.
Yeah. He looks like he might have at least snuck in and out of his own house a few times, maybe.
Yeah, at the minimum, definitely that.
Okay. So I would definitely say he could qualify for 3 dice.
Yeah, Jesus would do use subtlety also. Maybe he's like good at like sneaking into areas that he's not supposed to go to in the stadium.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, maybe showing his lady friends around where, places he thinks that are going to impress them, places he's not strictly supposed to be. I'm good with that.
Alrighty, and that's 2 successes for me, one of which is an 8, which is my subtlety number. So I will go ahead and mark down a point for that one.
Excellent. So that's 2 successes, so you managed to pull it off and do so well. And what about Jesus?
How many am I rolling?
You qualified for 3.
I got 3 successes.
So that actually qualifies for something going your way. Yeah, you get an extra effect. Okay, so the two of you managed to very handily find a good way to sneak in through here without being detected. You managed to make your way in through the gift shop, and luckily for you, you actually found that the gift shop kind of door was pulled almost all the way down. So the two of you had to kind of get down on your bellies and kind of snake underneath this pull down gate. However, it does mean that the gift shop is completely devoid of any of these creatures, and for the most part, you are kind of blocked off from any of them being able to easily get to you. So you kind of have your moment to go shopping, if you will.
All right, what are we looking for?
I mean, I know we're looking for lighter fluid, but I don't know anything else. Maybe like something else, like a weapon or rope, which I thought we can find rope, but I mean, anything useful.
There are definitely novelty lighters and things of that nature in here. Obviously, everything in here has the marketed mark of the team. The Astros kind of emblazoned all over it. Everything was orange and blue, has the H and the star and all that all over it. But you can definitely find novelty lighters enough that effectively you can have essentially 2 or 3 lighter fluid bottles worth kind of stored in each of these lighters. As far as rope, you're not going to find any rope, but there are a lot of T-shirts and things that maybe if you really were desperate, you could tear them into strips and then braid them or something to that effect.
Can I find a baseball helmet?
Baseball helmets? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he would grab one and put it on.
Okay. Yeah, you get like a batting helmet. And there are also baseball bats and baseballs in here.
Yeah, we'll probably grab a bat and maybe grab like his shirt and put like a few balls in there.
Yeah, Terry's gonna like grab for some of the like the novelty cups and start pulling apart lighters and just dumping the fluids into them.
Yeah, there's probably even like one of those like a to-go cup. It's got like a built-in straw on the lid and all that kind of stuff. You can absolutely find one. It's a 30, 40 ounce cup or whatever, so it can hold a lot of fluid. So as the two of them are kind of doing that in the gift shop, what are the rest of you up to?
I think Maria's kind of just diligently tending to all the minor wounds everyone's gotten, if possible, just addressing anything that anyone had been concerned with. And Billy has cracked one of his last 3 beers and is drinking this one rather than shoot it. Kind of impatiently tapping his boot. He kind of spits some chew on the floor, kind of disrespectfully on a body. And he looks at Ryan like, you've been playing like shit lately. I follow this game and you've been playing like shit. You would have blown it if this didn't come. Make my day. I think Dave is AFK.
Yeah, I think he's actually checking on his wife. So,
which is unfortunate. Which is really unfortunate because
I'll play Ryan here. So, hey, we have slumps. Some games go well, some games don't.
Slumps? You're the slump. We should have traded you back 2 seasons ago.
Well, it certainly is a lot harder than it looks on television. I can assure you, sir.
I would spit again. That's what they all say.
This is a common thing that you do, is verbally assaulting baseball players.
Verbally assaulting or telling the truth?
Dave, I have been stepping in for you as Billy is berating Ryan for his performance as of late in the game. If you want to take over.
Basically, all I'm saying is you're playing like fucking shit. Had this whole event not taken place today, you would have blew it.
Wow, you're a fortune teller now.
See?
So how's that work? Do you consult the gods, or is there some sort of sacrifice that you do, like cutting up a chicken or something, burn it as a sacrifice? I don't know. I don't understand the way.
I mean, I guess I would if I needed help hitting a ball.
Well, I'm just saying that you're foreseeing the future, soothsaying and all that shit.
The zombie apocalypse must be easy for you. Heads are like 5 times bigger than a baseball. You should have no problem hitting those.
Yep, as he holds his bat like he's about ready to swing.
And with that, like I'd spit some more tobacco out, and take a large swig of the whatever kind of beer I have at my disposal at the moment.
Tell you what, we get through this after we both keep level heads. We can talk shit up to and including throwing fists till the day is long, till one of us gets knocked out. But let's just keep our heads until we get through this. How's that?
Oh, I'm keeping my head. This is exactly where I wanted to be.
About ready to plant my baseball bat at the base of his skull.
It's kind of funny you say that, because the whole time I think Carlos would be behind them, like looking at Ryan and going like this, like if he wants him to hit him.
So as that situation is playing out, back inside the gift shop, it sounds like Terry and Jesus are probably finishing up their collecting of things, unless there's anything else in particular that the two of you want to look for.
Yeah, I imagine at this point, Terry's like filled one of those cups about 3/4 full of fluid, and he's grabbed about 2 or 3 lighters still regularly intact as well, just in case. And as they're kind of gathering the rest of the stuff, he's going to grab the one of the bats off the wall as well, just in case. And he'll just look over. You got everything you need that you need?
I think so. How about you?
Set.
Okay. So I am going to need you guys to both roll for your sneakies again. Sneakies. You can use either grace or subtlety, whichever you prefer. Once again, you can have 3 dice.
Alrighty, I'm going for subtlety, and once again, I got 2 successes, with one of them being exactly an 8.
Excellent. Okay.
I got 3 again. I feel kind of cheap because my stuff is really low.
All right. So yeah, the 3 of you, or the 2 of you, very, very easily managed to kind of slip out unnoticed, just as easily as you had slipped in. One of the things that I did want to go ahead and touch on, I haven't been doing this, is the usage die. We've had 1 pretty big encounter so far. So for those of you who were involved in that exchange, I believe that was Carlos and Ryan. Yeah. Both of you have baseball bats. Is that correct?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. If both of you would roll me a D8. We'll say each one of you took out 2 or 3 of them. So roll twice if you both would. Okay. 5 and a 2 for Ryan. That means that on the last one that you actually got a crack in your bat. So the usage die for your bat goes from a D8 down to a D6. Carlos got a 5 and a 3, so his is still doing good. It's still a D8. Okay.
I didn't ask. What was the usage on mine? I'm kind of using it in an improvised manner, so I don't know if that would reduce that.
For Billy?
Yes.
Let's see.
I don't know how used to firing full beer as a t-shirt cannon is.
I would definitely say not. And for him, the usage die is probably going to be mainly the actual air.
Right.
It'll probably be how much of that is left. So let's call it a D6. It takes quite a bit to launch a full beer cannon, I would imagine.
I almost picture like I have like some makeshift like ripped satchel full of beer and maybe like CO2 canisters for this thing. I don't know if CO2 is powerful enough, but that's what I'm going to go with, CO2.
Works for me.
So it's kind of like, this ragtag satchel of beer and CO2.
Yeah, it's probably like somebody, like a lady's purse, or half of a ball bag or whatever that you grab off of the ball boy.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So as tensions are somewhat on the rise between those of you who are standing behind the two individuals who went into the gift shop return with their bounty in hand.
Yeah, that shirt gun, it's not that hard to manage, is it?
No, but I wouldn't trust someone of your skill to be able to do anything with it.
Oh, yeah? Well, you got to be a bully.
Okay, no. No.
Because I mean, everything that I say is being scrutinized. One of these people is going to say something. They're going to record it. And after all this shit, it's going to go out to the papers. And some motherfucker is going to report that shit. You know that, Billy.
And that's the price of fame. You sold your soul to the corporate media, one of the three branches of the American government: military, media.
As I'm walking up to him, can I swing the bat up and hit him in the nuts with it?
And I'm gonna try and instinctually avoid that. Okay, well, I rolled a 1 over 8.
So I'm thinking that's probably I was probably trying to be forceful about that, so I missed by 1 and hit by another.
Okay, so 1 success, 1 fail.
Yeah.
Okay, so 1 success.
I only rolled 1, but I got a success, so I almost picture like he gets me in the shin, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of narrowly misses you and strikes your shin instead, though it was pretty clear what he was going for.
And with that, I'll kind of like push him on the chest, and hopefully something happens right now to prevent us from actually.
I would imagine this is probably the moment that the two return. They come kind of running up to you, stuff in their hands.
Yeah. As Terry approaches, he's got like a 3/4 full cup, like souvenir cup in his hand, a baseball bat in the other. And he's kind of holds out the cup and says, "Well, I wouldn't recommend drinking it, but if you want to light something up, this should do the trick."
Yeah, there's more important things afoot here, Mr. Gibbons.
I'm scrutinizing your words, but you're the one that's got to put out the last one every time.
Dick.
So
Look, whatever you two are
He
doing
mean-
here.
He lifts up his bat and he kind of inspects the crack that's in it, and then he looks over at Terry and he's like, "What were you saying?"
Look, I don't even want to know what you guys were doing while I was gone. Anyways. What was the plan? He kind of holds up the cup. Something about making something explode.
Yeah. What do you think, Billy? You've done some shit like this before, right?
And like without much shame, I would find like some fucking styrofoam confetti or something to like put into this to try and make some sort of fucking explosive or something.
Man.
Hey, yeah, I would like I said, try and MacGyver together some sort of explosive device or projectile.
okay. So
I
it
don't
sounds like
myself know the parameters of this, but Billy probably does. And I would say that this is maybe flair, some kind of showing off to be a jackass.
I could see that for sure.
And I've probably done this exact spiel before to some of my hillbilly friends.
There's definitely a propensity for blowing things up in the country. So
It's everywhere. It's not just the country.
So I imagine that, yeah, you kind of rig up, something with these 2 cans of propane, as well as this lighter fluid, and maybe a scrap of T-shirt or something else. It certainly wouldn't take a lot to rig up something that's going to explode. I think the plan is to rig it somehow to this golf cart, and then try to rig a baseball bat or something else to effectively automate the forward momentum of this golf cart into the crowd.
I actually have an alternate idea depending on is there any like banners or anything hanging from the ceiling that we could maybe like knock down and catch on fire and kind of like blanket cook these things rather than lose our golf cart? Maybe using like the ball pitching machine to like shoot the tarp itself down.
It's possible, yeah. If you want to you're trying to like shoot a flaming projectile into the tarp.
I was kind of just thinking like shoot the tarp down and then we throw the flaming projectile ourselves.
Okay. So yeah, there's definitely all kinds of banners and things of that nature. It's the World Series, so. Okay.
I just don't know if we want to give up our golf cart so readily.
Everybody?
Anybody have any input on that? I think this would probably be Maria speaking.
Yeah, Maria, not to speaking out of character, I think that, well, Maria is a nurse, but she's not necessarily into blowing things up. So maybe Billy is the better option.
Well, that's why I'm saying she's saying this, because this is rather than blow something up, this is just set something on fire.
Oh, right.
Me. Billy is definitely the proponent of blowing something up, but Maria is an advocate of golf cart. So
yeah, I think we should start with the golf cart, and then because we do have 2 propane canisters, and then just have Billy fuck something up with a propane canister as a, maybe he could throw it up in the air, and then after so if we drive the cart out, that gets their attention because there's movement. And if they all start to move, Billy throws or at least one of the propane canisters up in the air with something lit to it or something. And however, he's going to blow something up. And then that distracts them away because it's way far and away. So they turn one direction, then they turn another direction away from us, and we can run You know what I mean? So they're totally looking away from where we're going.
That makes a lot more sense. I figured we were just throwing this thing into the horde, but I like that significantly better. So.
And then hold on to the second one and use
contingency
that
plan of some sort, or
it's like a propane grenade, basically, if we need to.
I imagine almost probably out of the same satchel that I'm running out of beers with now. I've drank 2 of my last 3. We could probably rip it up and use it as like something to tie this propane tank to us rather than carry 60 pounds.
Yeah, absolutely. You can fashion some kind of, essentially a harness or whatnot to carry it around. Okay, so it sounds like the plan is to have the golf cart drive out on its own out into the crowd as an initial distraction, and then throw this first propane bomb in a different direction to try to get their attention and possibly take some of them out. And while they're distracted with the propane bomb, for you to skirt the edge of the crowd to get past them. Is that the plan?
I believe that is the plan.
Cool. Okay, so before we start making rolls on that, we're going to take our break. So go ahead and hit the restroom if you need to. Refill your drinks. Smoke them if you got them. Kiss your spouse. And we will get back to the second part here. Thank you very much for anybody who may be tuning in tonight, and for anybody who may be watching in the future. Hopefully you're having some good old-fashioned fun with some zombie killing. There's not a whole lot of substance to be had in a game like this, but sometimes it's just fun to roll dice and kill shit. So, welcome, stick around, and we will be right back. I have returned. Hello, everybody. I hope you are having an awesome Tuesday evening, or at least a mediocre one. Hopefully, it is better than Monday, because Mondays suck. Always. Oh my goodness. I needed this tonight. This is sometimes it's good just to destroy zombies. Good, mindless, senseless RPG violence.
Yeah, definitely fun.
Good, good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I actually had a little bit of concern before the game tonight. I was like, God, there's no depth to this. Like there's no there's not like a great story. There's not gonna be a whole lot of character development. I was kind of concerned, but you know, it kind of is what it is, and that's okay. And that's okay. Give everybody a few more minutes to return before we continue this fiasco. That's right, we are switching game systems in the middle of play. We are now going to be playing Fiasco. No, I'm kidding. That would be a terrible idea.
I still haven't played that yet.
You haven't played Fiasco? Dude. It is definitely the kind of game that you can only play with a certain kind of player because it is so strongly based on role playing that if you don't have a group of people who are comfortable with a lot of role playing, it's going to be a really boring game, I think. But
yeah, like there's no like the mechanics of the game don't actually affect like anything in like the mechanics are exclusively like outside of the game to like determine like other things. So it's the actual events in game are just pure talk. Like that's all you got is descriptions and words.
Exactly.
But with the right crew, it can be some of the best gaming that you can do. Like you have a crew that's totally into it.
Yeah, for sure. And it's surprising how entertaining it can be with such little structure. I guess is probably the best word. So it's a lot of fun to play, but it is probably the single most aptly named game that I've ever played. it starts at messed up and it just goes downhill, but in a really fun and unexpected way a lot of the time.
Yeah, I'm always surprised by how effectively it creates intricate but followable stories.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's like the storylines are always very like complicated and like there's like this huge web, but it never feels like it's unattainable. Like it's like you can still follow it easily, but it still has a lot of depth. It's very interesting how it like consistently does that.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely some really cool, what do they call them? Playlists, I guess is the setups are called, the scenarios.
I think so, yeah.
And there's some really fun ones out there that I definitely want to try. Pretty much any kind of fan fiction that you can imagine, under the sun. Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, all kinds of stuff. That seem like they have some pretty decent attempts at somebody creating a playlist for them.
Yeah, I would like to try out a Harry Potter one. That sounds pretty neat.
Mm-hmm. I'm playing in Chad's ongoing one that he's got right now called All in the Family. It is a 1940s-ish.
Sounds like Game of Thrones.
It is a mafia-based game. So it is.
I'm curious as to...
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was saying it is definitely one of those ones that starts at fucked up and just gets worse and worse.
Yeah, I was curious as to how that you guys were gonna do a multi-session Fiasco game, because Fiasco tends to be very like structured in the sense of it's like, well, you've got the beginning, you've got the intermission, you've got the aftermath. Like it's very like hit with its pacing. So I was curious to see how you guys were gonna make that happen over such a long period of time, but still like have snappy scenes.
Yeah, and so far it's gone really well. We've only had 2 sessions, but he did a really he made a really smart call, I think. And effectively, it's a 3-act story. So there's 6 sessions, and we play through the first act in the first session, and then the second act. Oh, okay, the first part of the first act in the first session, the second part of the first act in the second session, and then on and on. So by the end, we'll have 3 acts, but it's gone really well because we have 5 players. I think there's 5 players. So the scenes definitely tend to take a while to get through. And
yeah, I'd imagine you'd have. Yeah, I'd imagine you'd have to stretch it out a little bit if you're gonna go for 6 sessions. You can't, like, some of the scenes in Fiasco can kind of be a little on the snappier side, but like there's only so many short scenes you can do and still expect a game to go 6 sessions. So I'd imagine you kind of have a little bit more room to stretch.
Definitely, and it's been interesting so far. It's been I kind of feel bad. I actually ended up getting Chris Johnson's character killed in the last session that we played. So,
I mean, that's Fiasco. Like,
yeah, it happens, but I think she's going to have a new character that he's going to kind of roll into the story, starting with our next session. So. It's a good game, though. Okay. Dave might be checking on his wife again. So what we'll probably do is go ahead and get off to a start here. At least get a rolling, and he can join us. So who is rigging up the cart to try to drive out into this this crowd?
I imagine Jesus is rigging his bat so that way he can, you know, have it launch in there and it will, you know, actually work.
Okay. So how do you imagine him putting this together? How is he going to rig this to do it what it is that he wants?
Just probably when we went in the shop and he grabbed some of the shirts and stuff, he's going to rip up some shirts and tie it up a certain way and then put some in the corner so that way when he moves the small end to the side, it won't slip out.
And then he's given a baseball bat in order to press down the pedal. Okay. Maybe he's using Ryan's slightly damaged baseball bat, and you guys maybe grabbed him a replacement from the gift shop.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So Ryan, you have had a replacement baseball bat given to you from the gift shop, and they are going to use your slightly damaged one as the rig to press this pedal down.
Nice. So it's not the miniature baseball bat?
Exactly. You're back to a D8. Okay. So it sounds like Jesus is going to be the one to rig this up. So Jesus, why don't you go ahead and give me a roll? You know, this sounds like it might be a knowledge roll. Does that work for you?
Can I do instant instead?
Okay. So instead of relying on any kind of plan or design, he's just going to kind of try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So I would definitely say that this is not something you're an expert at, but you certainly are prepared. You made time to gather supplies and stuff, so I'll give you 2 dice.
Yeah. Okay, so I got 1 success and 1 failure.
Okay. So you succeed, but at a cost. All right. So you managed to get this thing started, and it's going to go. However, it's only going to go to the left. You can't manage to figure out how to get it to go straight or to have any kind of control over it whatsoever. So as soon as this thing takes off, it's going to start taking a hard left. It's going to go maybe a quarter of the distance that you guys were hoping before it probably runs into the wall. But
quick question. Since he knows that it's kind of like gimped, it won't go all the way, can he like stand and pretty much steer it and then at some point jump off?
He can, but it's going to take him into the crowd. At least somewhat.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Well, he's going to do pretty much is just going to steer it, and then when it gets close enough, he's going to jump off, but he's going to run the other way, away from the propane tank.
Okay, so when he makes a mad dash away from this cart, is he going to be moving to rejoin the group?
Probably not. He's probably going to try to take over. Hide.
Okay. So the cart is rigged up. Jesus stands on it to try to give it some modicum of control as he presses this pedal down alongside the brake and rigs this baseball bat into place before releasing the brake. And he holds on, standing in place as he kind of steers this thing. It starts going, and immediately, whenever it gets close enough, the zombies near the closest edge of this crowd start turning to see him approaching and start making their way towards him hurriedly. It starts curving to the left, and he hops off, runs for cover as Billy prepares his portion of this thing.
I think I just like circle throw this propane bomb concoction to its designated location, probably forcefully as I can, so as my fucking motorcycle boots are squeaking on the tile and my fucking vein is bulging in my forehead.
All right.
It's like a keg almost. I've thrown a keg before.
I imagine he probably has. Okay, so why not? We'll go ahead and we'll say that this has 3 dice.
All right, so we got 3 successes.
Excellent. Okay, so you managed to get this rig spinning, give it a lot of momentum, and release, and it kind of sails out and over this crowd, landing probably 100 yards or so. No, that would be way too far. 30 or 40 yards or so.
I should play fucking football.
Billy's an Olympian.
I can fucking throw a keg 100 yards.
So you throw this a distance.
So I think I would actually like confidently strode off with that, like keg tossing champion back where I'm from, and look at Ryan.
As he's saying this, there's an explosion behind him, kind of framing his...
Silhouetting me in front of the gore and explosion. Billy's magnificent shadow, mullet magnificently flowing behind me.
There's an American flag somewhere out of nowhere that just like...
An eagle cries in the distance.
Waves down behind him in slow motion.
I catch a beer out of the air.
Ryan just says it's too bad they don't pay $1 million contracts for that, isn't it?
I'm sorry. I'm too cool right now. What did you say from the peanut gallery?
So this bomb, impromptu explosive, goes off. There is a ground-shaking tremor that runs through this building. Pieces of broken concrete and dust kind of come down, and there are zombie bodies that are thrown all over the place as this fireball erupts. And the rest of the zombies of the crowd that had not already turned to pay their attention to this this golf cart that is slowly kind of starting to make its way into them have now turned their direction or turned their attention in that direction and are starting to rush that spot where the explosion just happened. So it's definitely go time.
Yeah, don't trip, Billy, as they start running.
Well, fuck you, Ryan. I'm like a modern day Hercules.
Yeah, and Joey is running as well.
Yep, Terry's just gonna break into a sprint as well.
Yeah, Carlos trying to get his bet ready. He's just gonna run ahead.
Okay, so everyone except for Jesus, it sounds like, is starting to sprint. And the way I kind of picture it is probably along the front of the gift shop. You know, now that the zombies kind of seem to be pulling away from that side of the thoroughfare here. So you take off running just as fast as you can, using the distraction to the best that you can. And you can see that there is a doorway that leads into a hall that's kind of just past all of this. This is the place you know is going to lead to the security room. So you start heading in that direction towards that door. And meanwhile, Jesus, you will have taken cover to hide. You know that this distraction is not going to last forever. And you are within spitting distance, especially if it was Billy, of some of these zombies. So what are you going to do?
I think now he's gonna try to run towards the rope.
Okay, you know that you are close enough that leaving the cover that you have managed to find is definitely going to draw the attention of some of them. Are you just going to try to outpace them with speed?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Jesus, deciding that he doesn't want to be alone with this group of zombies, especially once they lose the focus that they currently have, is going to dive out of cover and start running after his group of friends. So, Jesus, go ahead and roll a speed check for me. How used to running, all out running, is Jesus?
He's really good at running.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And,
go ahead. So I would say probably 2 dice in this situation.
That's 2 successes.
Excellent. So you managed to basically just take advantage of these things' slow reaction time. And you head off as fast as you can to try to catch up to the people. And just about the time that the last one of them is going through the doorway and it is shutting, there's kind of that loud metallic as it shuts. And the zombies anywhere near the immediate area of that have now turned and seen you and are now running after you in pursuit. Luckily, you have a head start. So you have a good chance that you're going to be able to get through the door before they catch you. But it's probably going to be close. So let's see if you can get through the door before any of them actually get to you. Let's do contested speed rolls. Give me another 2 dice on your speed. And I'm going to roll for some of these guys on their speed.
Got another 2 successes.
Excellent. Okay. They all rolled very, very poorly. So they manage to not catch up to you before you get to the door and are able to basically slam that, kind of depression bar open. The door flings open, possibly to a rather surprised-looking group of your compatriots on the other side, and you're able to turn around and get this door shut fully before there is a slam of flesh and bone on the other side of it as these creatures throw their bodies into it without any care or caution at all. The pounding on this door starts immediately as you hear fingernails snapping as they are trying their best to claw their way through this steel door. The group of you, the 5 of you, are now just on the other side of this door, looking down kind of a long concrete hallway. The lights in here actually don't look like they're working, and the only single light in this room is at the very end of the hallway, kind of at a T-junction. Looks like it might be like a safety light or an emergency light. What are you going to do?
I think this would be Carlos's time to shine.
So, what was happening at the end exactly? Like, they're trying to get to the door, right?
Yeah, the ones that were chasing Jesus are on the other side of the door, pounding and scratching on it, trying to get through.
What kind of door is this? Like the handle to open it? Is it like a knob, or is it one of those things like this?
No, so it's one of those bars that runs across the middle of the door that you depress to actually open. So it's probably not going to take long before they accidentally press against that hard enough to open.
So there's no way that I could take a bat and put it in there to try to like block it or anything?
You could certainly try to rig something.
Yeah, I might as well. I think he'll go to try to like hold the door and do this. If not, he's just gonna stand there and try to take some swings.
The rest of you?
Is there any sort of like equipment in this room? This was the security room.
This is currently just a hallway. It kind of extends down, and there's a T-junction at the very end where that is the only source of light that is currently.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. All right. Sorry, Jose. I misinterpreted the scenario from before. I thought we were in the security room. That was what I was saying. Carlos would be. Never mind. I would probably. Maria and Billy would probably be heading down that hallway if there's no clear signs of undead.
Yeah, Joey starts to follow with the crowd, but Ryan kneels down and starts to look as low as he can based on the light that he sees at the far end to see if there's more than the group he's with on the ground. Lower to the ground that he can't see.
No, he doesn't see anything else. I mean, he sees, like I said, several doorways that kind of line this hallway. They all seem shut. And at the end of the hallway, like I said, it goes to the left and the right. It kind of this hallway dead ends into another one at a T-junction. But no, it doesn't look like there's anybody else or anything else really of note in this hallway that you found yourselves in.
Okay, so he starts moving forward.
Okay, so you move forward, and the door seems to be holding for now, at least. Jesus, you managed to jam a part of your another baseball bat, which may actually leave you unarmed at the moment. But you managed to kind of shove this down in between the door handle and the jam on this side. And it seems like it's going to hold, at least for the moment, until more weight is pressed up against this door. So the five of you are able to proceed onward towards the security room, and you pass a doorway that is metal, like the one that you just came through. However, this one is still barely on its hinges. And the door itself, what is remaining of it, is almost peeled open towards the hallway where you are standing. So from the inside of the room, the door is kind of peeled back towards you and is barely still hanging onto its hinges. The room is a complete disarray. Furniture is overturned and smashed into splinters. All of the lights in the room are out. Several of them look like they were probably smashed. The fluorescent bulbs in complete pieces all over the place. And there is a crate sitting in the middle of the floor of the room that also looks like it was all but reduced to splinters. Each of you, if you would please, can roll me a knowledge roll. I'm going to say that this is probably just a singular die. I don't think there's anything that any reason that any of you would necessarily have an additional die to this. Unless any of you would have a reason to speak foreign languages or read foreign languages. Then I would be willing to hear your argument.
It's possible that Joey Diggs, being a recent college grad.
That's true. That is possible.
So,
yeah, so I would say he'd probably qualify for a second die.
So a 5 and a 10, but well, actually a 1. So he got 1 success.
Okay.
Maria got 1 success and Billy failed.
Okay. Anyone else?
I got nothing as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that
Carlos got 1. Jesus
Ryan
okay.
got 0 successes.
So whether or not anybody can actually read what it says or they just recognize the language, it is written in Cyrillic. It looks like Russian. And it's stamped very boldly on the outside of this crate.
Billy about flips a nut. I fucking knew it, man. This isn't just some low-key thing. This is Big Brother. This is fucking everything you ever thought was going on, but times 10. Ryan, do you have any idea what the fuck I'm talking about? No. Because all you know is how to lose a game.
Shut up.
So now you believe in conspiracies. Man, what the hell is this roll coming to?
There's a horde of crazed zombies outside. I think a conspiracy theorist is the least of our worries.
Billy claps his hands and points at Terry. My man. And he looks back to the rest of the group. And trust me, it's only conspiracy when it's not true.
Can you keep your voice down? Fucking idiot. Joey is sitting there concentrating, trying to read what's on the other side.
He had gotten 2 successes or just the 1?
Just 1.
Okay. So I'm going to say that he doesn't necessarily know what it says, but he thinks he sees something about caution, warning, something to that effect, danger. It definitely seems like whatever it was that was in this crate was something hazardous. those of you who are getting close enough to the crate to actually see inside of it, can actually see that there are claw marks on the inside of the wood of this crate.
Yeah, it looks kind of past tense, but that crate is saying, warning, stay away. I wouldn't get too close.
We definitely should get out of here and hurry up and get some weapons and trying to get out before we turn into whatever they left over in that room.
Okay. So you leave the suspicious crate in the room that it's in behind you, and you press on towards the security room. And as you get closer, you are fairly certain that you hear low voices talking. And it definitely sounds like they may be speaking in Russian.
Does it sound like the voices we heard on the intercom earlier?
So the voice that you had heard on the PA earlier seemed a little, maybe higher pitched, a little more, with a little more enunciation. And these are more guttural, more, not slurred, but just less precise.
More slang.
Possibly, but these are actually Russian. The other was a Russian accent speaking English. These
Gotcha.
Yeah, these are straight Russian.
Okay.
Should I try to get a sneaky closer look?
I think maybe Billy would even kind of slap Terry on the shoulder. You're kind of small and fast. Aren't you good at sneaking up on people? Kind of creepy.
Look, I'm fine going sneaking around some dumb zombies, but those are some actual people speaking who knows what. Not touching that.
Well, I'm not really asking you to touch it. Just go see if you can find out where they are in relation to us.
Terry doesn't respond. He just gives you a look like you're either a fucking idiot or you're intentionally trying to be obnoxious, and either way, I don't care.
Yeah, Billy isn't necessarily the smartest fruit the tool shed. So, what he thinks is the right thing doesn't at all mean it's the right thing.
So is anybody looking forward? It sounded like maybe Jesus was thinking about it.
Yes, this is gonna try to sneak and stick his head out the side of the hallway, see what he can see.
Okay, and it sounded like while he was going to be doing that, you can go ahead and roll for, I would say, go ahead and roll 3 dice again. It sounded like Joey was attempting to try to.
Yeah, listen to what they were saying.
Okay. So
you want me?
2, I believe. So go ahead and roll his 2 dice.
So I got 3 successes, and 2 of them is my number.
Hot damn. Make sure to mark those down for sure.
So he actually got a 4 and a 10. His knowledge is a 4.
Okay.
But 10 is way over.
Yeah, for sure. So that's 1 success, but he did get his number, so make sure you mark that down. So he thinks that they're talking about women. It seems a little out of place, but who knows? He's definitely pretty sure that he's heard some rather insensitive words being used regarding female anatomy.
And he looks over at Maria and says, "Did you ever study Russian?"
I don't know if Maria has ever actually left Houston. Was she? What kind of nurse was she, Jeremy?
I don't know. We'll say that she's done some ER work, some trauma room.
Well, I'm afraid I never learned Russian. I can speak Spanish pretty damn good. I don't think that's going to help us here.
So as Jesus creeps forward, he manages to get a look at these 2 individuals. And one of them is kind of scrawny. He has a pretty severe look about him. And he's currently smoking a cigarette. His dress at first seems like it might be, appropriate. Jeans, kind of an over sweater over a shirt, normal shoes. But he's wearing gloves. And the equipment that he's carrying in his hands is most certainly not your average, everyday, normal equipment you would see on someone. And he is speaking to an individual who is probably close to a foot taller than him. His hair is definitely grayed. He's dressed in a similar kind of fashion, street clothes. He's also carrying a semi-automatic weapon in his hands. He is likewise smoking a cigarette. And the 2 of them are just casually leaning up against the wall on either side of a door that is very clearly marked security.
Yeah, Jesus would notice this, and he would like turn around and go to the group, and he would be like, "These guys got some serious firepower. They look like they're like the mob or something, and they're guarding the security room."
What does a narrow escape offer you?
Anytime that you are asked to roll your health die to see whether or not you perish, you can cash that in to avoid the roll and just explain how you narrowly escaped instead.
Gotcha.
Anybody?
Terry is going to kind of lean in, trying to make sure that he keeps quiet as he can to make sure that they don't attract the attention of these people. He's gonna like kind of hold up the the cup of what's left of the lighter fluid. I don't even know if they used any on the first bomb or not.
I would imagine you probably use some, but there's plenty left.
And say, well, I don't know how flammable the security room is, but I know that those 2 people are flammable. Strip a cloth, one of the lighters, turn this into a nice Molotov, light them up.
Do we need to save anything in the security room?
Well, I imagine the security room has like big, nice metal doors, so there's no way we're really gonna damage anything.
Well, you can damage the equipment, but
Well, I mean, I don't think the fire will get in there if it's closed.
Billy's got one more can of beer to launch from the makeshift weapon that I have.
Joey reluctantly says, I took some theater and I can fake a Russian accent. And I do speak Russian to a certain degree. I can try to walk in and say something. I don't know if you want me to try that.
Seems like a good way to get shot in the head.
Yeah, just throwing it out there as he looks down at the piss stain that's still on his pants. On the other hand, Ryan says, looks over at Billy's gun and he's like, just fucking open the door and blow one of them away and have the next person come running in behind you.
Now, I'll fight zombies all day, but I ain't too keen on getting shot.
Pussy.
I mean, you can go ahead and go first with the fire if you want. You can get shot.
The Molotov what's gonna happen? Because if we're gonna do that and you don't want to do it, Carlos will grab it from you and do it.
I mean, realistically, someone could throw it and like back up, and then when the next person comes around the corner that potentially didn't get hit by it, shoot them. I guess there's some larger failure chance that way, but I don't really see. How big is splash damage in this?
Let's find out.
Well, if there's no volunteers, I think Carlos would do it as long as somebody will light it up. But
Yeah,
Billy-
Terry will take one of the strips of the shirts that they had shredded earlier, and like dip it into the cup, and then like have it hang out and put the lid back on over it so it's a little more controlled. And then pull out a lighter. Well, it's gonna be ugly one way or another, but if we're sure, we can give it a go.
all right, and then he would tell everybody to like try to stay back some.
Okay. So with this Astros to go cup thermos thing, partially full of lighter fluid, and a strip of fabric sticking out of the top that has also been soaked in this lighter fluid, Terry lights this impromptu fuse on this Molotov cocktail and appropriately trying to deliver this Molotov back to the Russians. Jesus is going to step out around the corner and throw it. He's got Oh, Carlos is. Sorry. Carlos is going to step around the corner and try to toss this. It's a pretty good chunk. It's probably about 20 feet or so.
Yeah, and then Joey starts shaking up one of the beer cans and just starts shaking like crazy because he's thinking that if he lights fire and throws it in there, if he opens up a beer can and throws it in there, it's going to sit there and spray and cause distraction of some sort.
We're kind of readying this shaken beer as a possible distraction. Okay. Carlos. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just gonna say Terry is going to basically try to hide because this is kind of like around a corner, I believe. Terry's gonna position himself near to the wall on our side of the corner. So basically, if they do follow us down here, he'll be in a position to sneak out and jump on them.
Okay. Yeah. So there's probably like a doorway or something that's recessed that you're able to kind of sneak into. Everybody else ready?
Billy's just backing up Carlos to an extent. I mean, covering fire really, and Maria's in the back.
Okay, so Billy is standing by with the intention of, as Carlos is falling back around the corner, he is going to try to shoot. Okay. So, I'm sorry, as Carlos is coming back around the corner. All right, Carlos. So this is probably going to be either forceful or control, I would imagine.
Let's see. I got better force. I'll use force.
Okay. Again, he's a bodyguard, so he's probably seen some fairly rough kinds of action before. So I will go ahead and say that he is, we'll say he's an expert in throwing impromptu explosive devices, incendiary devices at the least. And yeah, we'll go ahead and say he's prepared as well. So go ahead and throw those 3 dice.
Okay, so I got 2 successes, 1 fail, and one of the successes is my number.
Okay. Definitely make sure that you mark that down. So you hurl this flaming thermos effectively down this short hallway, and it flies downward, hits the ground, and kind of bounces up before the flames shoot down inside of this container, very quickly burning up any of the oxygen that's inside and just explode outward, sending fire and burning lighter fluid and pieces of plastic at these 2 individuals, both of which are going to, I'm going to see if they can do anything about getting hit by this. Okay. Well, they both took quite a bit of damage. Let's see. All right. Okay. So one of them actually goes up in flames and is burned within moments. Just kind of firing his rifle all around the end of the hallway there, kind of up towards the ceiling as he collapses onto the ground, burning. I would say probably the thinner of the 2. The larger of the 2 individuals is on fire and has taken some burns, but he is not entirely dealt with. And he kind of looks down the hallway at you, levels this machine gun at you, Carlos, and opens fire.
Can I take this moment to throw that beer that I've been shaking up at him?
Yes.
Because I was kind of holding it in my hand. Mm-hmm. So then I just kind of crack it a little bit and it starts to spray and I just chuck it at him. So that's probably speed.
Yeah, to do so quickly, I would say so.
Frat boy, 2 dice.
Yeah, sure. Makes sense.
So his score is a 5. He got a 6 and an 8.
And he is using
Speed.
speed. So, and his number was what again?
His number is a.
In speed versus control?
His number is a 5. Speed is the favored.
Okay. And he got a 4 and a 6?
A 6 and an 8.
6 and an 8. Okay, so yeah, that's 2 successes on speed. Okay.
Right?
So he manages to do it and do it well. So he throws this can down there, and the first several shots actually go at the can, just kind of out of instinct as this thing is flying towards him. So that is going to cause him to lose one of the dice he was going to be throwing. Billy, likewise, you were kind of ready to shoot your t-shirt cannon. Do you wish to do that now, or do you want to wait until afterwards?
No, I'd probably do it now. Probably obnoxiously step out from behind the corner and like shout at the guy and fire. Probably flare, very flare. Obnoxious.
Okay, yeah, absolutely, yeah, causing a scene.
Yeah.
Doing it loud and proud.
So doing 2.
Let's see. I would say he's probably an expert at making a fool out of himself, and drawing attention to do so. And he's probably an expert by this time, since this is the last shot with this t-shirt cannon. He's been doing this for a little while.
Billy is thriving in the zombie apocalypse.
So go ahead and make it 3 dice.
All right, so I got 2 successes. 1 is a narrow escape, and then 1 failure.
Okay, cool. So 2 successes, so you do it well. So that is going to take away 1 additional of the dice that he was going to throw, leaving him with just the single die that he's going to roll against Carlos. As this thing flies down the hallway and beams him in the shoulder, he's going to kind of rock back, still trying to fire at Carlos. We'll see if he's able to hit him. So let's see here. Okay. Okay. Carlos. He's got 1 success. So some of these bullets are headed your direction. You're going to need to roll your health die.
What was it again?
They are all a D4, which means you got a 50-50 shot. So if you'd like...
2, right?
What's that?
You said roll 2?
No, you've only got one bout that you have to deal with. So you're just going to have to make 1 roll. However, if Carlos has any narrow escapes, if he wishes, he can cash one of those in to avoid the roll.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So tell me how it is that you narrowly escape these bullets that were going to hit you.
He probably saw him, like he saw him shooting the cannon and everything. He kind of saw the weapon coming his way, so he would like drop to the ground as he starts shooting.
Yeah, so you kind of hit the deck as these bullets kind of spray the back wall back behind you. And you manage to avoid getting tagged by this gunfire. He is still, excuse me, he is still kicking, though he is trying to put out the fire now. And he is yelling in Russian. And it sounds like he's alerting someone to the presence of all of you, or at least the 3 of you that he's seen. So, what's next?
Billy would probably foolhardily charge after him. Maybe brandishing some sort of like Made in China utility knife, like the big combat knives that you can get at Walmart's.
Yeah, as much as Carlos doesn't really want to do this, he's probably going to run with him so that way he can tackle the guy. So pretty much either he's going down or one of us is going down.
Okay. So Billy and Carlos are headlong charging down the hallway at this individual.
Yeah, Joey reaches over and pats Terry on the shoulder and is like, man, that was a good shot, man. And Ryan prepares to sort of follow in with the bat. He's not necessarily a combative sort of person, but
Grab the guns.
I was
What's
just
that?
gonna say Terry's actually gonna, as the shots ring out and the guy goes to like reload and pat the fire out. Terry's gonna make a mad sprint to like try to slide and grab the other submachine gun that the other guy dropped in his burning.
Okay. So it sounds like Carlos and Billy are charging this guy down, trying to get to him and maybe take him off his feet, while Terry is going to make a dash for the gun. And then Ryan is somewhat going to be coming up behind Carlos and Billy. So Carlos and Billy, both of you, if you would, go ahead and roll probably forceful checks. I would say that this is probably not the first hand-to-hand fight or tackle that either Carlos or Billy have engaged in. So both of you can qualify for your expert die. However, charging down a guy with a gun is probably not something that either one of you are used to doing. So I'm going to say you're not necessarily prepared. So go ahead and roll your 2 dice.
So this was force.
I would imagine, yeah, unless you can explain a different approach.
Billy looks like an animal. He's like mildly snarling, probably because he's not running in any proper form, and he kind of just lunges himself at this guy.
Okay. What you got?
I got 1 success, 1 fail.
Okay, good deal. And Baron, what did Billy get on his?
I'm sorry, I thought I said he got 2 successes.
Oh, I'm sorry. If you did, I missed it. Okay. So that is a success, and you do it well, and a success and a complication. Okay. So the complication is that in the scuffle, Carlos, while not fatally so, you are actually shot. I'm going to say through the thigh. So the two of you managed to definitely tackle this guy, take him off his feet, probably even knock the gun away from him, wrestle him to the ground. But the gun definitely goes off, puts a bullet in Carlos's thigh. And with him dealt with, Terry, you getting to the second gun is not an issue. You managed to get to it very quickly, and you probably have it in your hands before the second individual is actually even fully dead, as he's kind of still calling out and writhing around on the floor. Ryan, you kind of come running up behind as this is kind of playing out, just in time basically to see Carlos get shot in the thigh. and the two of them wrestle this Russian individual to the ground. In the room, there is a lot of commotion, and you hear a voice come over the PA system once again. No, 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 no. This is not right. You should not be doing this. You are very, very bad. Bad individuals. Why are you not playing by the rules?
Ryan's thinking in his head, what rules, as he brings the bat down on the guy's head. This is force, and that is going to be a 5 and 2 9s, so that is 1 success.
Okay. You managed to knock this guy unconscious. But the complication is that your bat suffers a single usage die loss. So it was at a D8. It'll now be a D6.
He looks over at Billy and he says, see, this is what happens when you're this strong.
Terry is a bit concerned about the who this person would have been yelling to. He's going to try to keep an eye out and see if there's any other people moving towards them. And if he can hear any footsteps or any voices, he's going to keep his gun trained in that direction.
He definitely heard some movement beyond the security door, inside the security room.
Billy would help Carlos up, and that guy obviously had some sort of gun. Was it like a pistol or something?
They both had semi-automatic weapons.
I'm talking about the guy we tackled to the ground.
Yes, he had one as well. There were two individuals standing outside the door, and both of them had kind of submachine gun type weapon. Oh, you mean like in addition to?
Yeah, was that the second guy that was the one that ran, or was there a third person? I was under the impression there was a third person.
No, there were only two individuals outside the door.
So,
both of them are taken care of.
Okay.
They each had one gun, but there was commotion on the other side of the security door. You have not seen inside the security room yet.
I would be helping Carlos over to Maria to have her check out his gunshot. To which she would, this is probably something she's seen before working on the ER floor, so she's gonna try and tend to that as best she can. I mean, to where she's at.
Sure.
Pour some gunpowder on it or something.
Okay, so yeah, I would say this is probably a knowledge roll for her. She is definitely an expert in this situation, though she's not equipped for dealing with this kind of situation with the current supplies and things that she has. So
right.
2 dice.
Okay. Okay, my knowledge is a 3, and I got a 4 and a 7, so 2 successes.
Excellent. So you managed to not only stem the bleeding, but you kind of bandage it up well enough that you think that infection will probably not set in. At least you're hoping.
So I guess maybe it not being a kill shot, maybe not that infection might get him later on, but it was a good gunshot if there was one. I'm able to somewhat suture the wound or cauterize the wound here.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the bullet passed all the way through, so you're able to kind of get it taken care of here and now. So as long as you're able to keep an eye on it, you think it'll probably heal fine.
So probably almost in like a reciteful manner, she gives the, you're gonna want to have that looked at every so many, and she kind of like catches herself. Never mind.
Yeah, he would definitely look at it. He'd be like, "Thank you," and then he would try to grab some of the rags that they had and tie it up.
Okay. So at the security door, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, Joey is out in the hallway kind of listening for what's going on outside. And Ryan is making sure that the big guy's down. And once the other guy stops breathing, he's going to crack him on the head with sort of knock him out.
So both of the individuals outside the room are handily dealt with. They're either dead or taken out of the fight for the time being, depending on how it is that you want to handle the situation. Inside the security room, you can hear one side of a conversation. You're fairly certain that it's on a phone of some kind of communications device, and it is in Russian. Joey, if you'd like, you can make another roll for me.
And I think it was 1 for knowledge.
You have 2.
Okay. Okay, so that is a 2 and an 8. So 1 success.
This actually stands to reason pretty well. His understanding of the language is not solid, but he's able to kind of pick out success, mission, and surrounded. So it definitely seems like this individual might be reporting in, maybe informing someone that he is successful in his mission and that he's found himself surrounded.
Yeah, and Joey's going to relate that to the team. It seems like they're saying that they were successful in their mission, but they're surrounded.
So do you think this was like a biological weapon or something?
Your guess is as good as mine. I mean, this is definitely a good place to start, but why Houston? It's just a shithole city, isn't it? Just fucking floods everywhere. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Yeah, why start in Houston, though? I mean, of all places.
The World Series was here. This place was packed. That's why.
What do we do? And Brian's just kind of looking there, too. What do you think, Billy? What are those brains telling you?
Billy is having like one of those moments where all the pieces are kind of falling into place. Like Charlie from Always Sunny, when he's talking about Pepe Silva, he's like, Billy's strung out right now. Like the World Series, like, oh, all the clues, they pointed to it happening today in this spot.
Why are you sweating so much?
Because this is crazy.
You look like you're about to puke.
It's a happy puke. you know, happy puke. You guys ever have those?
So,
And
dare I
Billy is
ask,
actually going to try and convince someone to give him the gun, though I personally could not come up with a reasonable argument for why you should do so.
I can tell you up front that there's not a word in the universe that Billy could tell Terry that would make him hand it over, so.
Yeah, no offense, but you're kind of crazy, Billy.
Yeah. True.
so dare I ask, is there a plan? And if so, what is it?
Are the phones still working in the security room?
Kind of hard to tell. You're not in there yet.
We're right next to it, right? Is it locked?
Yes, absolutely.
And it is locked?
Yes. It seems rather securely.
How is it locked?
Securely?
Just
No,
a key? Smart ass.
I would imagine there's some kind of high-tech bullshit, you know, some kind of it's probably not like retinal scan, but it's probably got some kind of thumbprint scan or keypad that needs 2 different entries or some shit like that.
Since you said fingerprint kit, since Carlos is a security guard, can he put his thumbprint, see what happens?
Is he a security guard here at the stadium?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he can certainly try. Let's see what his clearance is.
I was about to ask, could it be 3 of us working at once? Because I was thinking Terry might be familiar enough just with, again, if I'm reading Terry right, probably messes around on the internet, knows how to mess with electronic things, could help me, and so the 3 of us working together.
It would probably be a bit of a stretch to have the kind of knowledge that would need to get around like a thumb scanner. Like he could probably like get into like, you know, your aunt's email account, but not like a secure like high tech level.
Yeah,
thing.
if his fingerprint doesn't work, then we may need to hack it, and then we might need to just bombard it with code to try to get past it or something.
If these people are registered, which it sounds like at least somebody in here is, if they got in, we could try to put their thumbs on it. At least the one that wasn't too badly burned.
No, that's not a bad idea.
You want to try it? Jesus or Carlos?
I don't think it would hurt if we like grab his hand and try to, you know, slap it in there.
Okay. So one of you, or more than one of you, grabs a hold of him and kind of drags his body over towards the security door, wrenches his hand up, and presses his thumb against the keypad after pulling his gloves off. He kind of scans his thumbprint. There's a green light beep, beep, at the top of the lock, and you hear a
Harry's immediately gonna like put his gun up at the ready. Like it's clear by the way that he's holding it that he's probably never shot something like this before, but he's still not gonna give it up. But he's just gonna hold it up and just hope for the best.
Can I use the guy as a shield, like as the door opens, just throw him?
maybe this guy is a big dude. I mean, he's probably 6'5", 6'6", and probably weighs 320 pounds. I mean, he's a solid dude.
Could I put him against the door and then open the door so that way he just falls when I open?
Can you pick him up?
Yeah, that's going to be the trick.
You said you were
2 people.
Well, you said you were a security or like a maintenance guy, right?
Jesus is the maintenance guy. Carlos.
Jesus might be able to pick him up.
Jesus is the sneaky one?
He can probably help Carlos pick him up, I would guess.
Well, Ryan goes up and tries to help him pick him up.
Okay.
And then readies the bat just when he falls so that at least they don't. And then Joey starts shaking up another can of beer.
So who's gonna grab the second gun, by the way?
I don't think anyone had claimed it. I know Terry has one. Did Carlos have the other one?
I can just go Terminator style and have both of them. Uzi in each hand.
You know, as much as I would love,
that's a joke.
I would
So
no.
somebody else should grab the other gun.
I would imagine Carlos, having the security guard background, would probably be the first to take that from Billy, if not someone else.
Gotcha. Well, if he grabs the gun, what are we gonna do with the body? Are we just gonna leave it in the floor, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to mess with the body.
It sounds like the plan is to pull the door open and have your guns leveled on whoever is inside. And also throw a beer can. Okay. You fling open the door, and there's an individual standing in the center of the room as if expecting you, all by his lonesome. He has somewhat of a kind of sad expression, I suppose, on his face as he's looking at you. He has no weapons upon him except for something in his hand, with his thumb kind of posed at the ready. And on the ground, there's a strange-looking device, kind of all these plastic canisters and wires. And he kind of looks at you, and he says, "Yes, the game is over." Kaboom. He presses the button in his hand. But instead of there being an explosion, the device on the ground simply releases a large amount of gas that very quickly fills the security room and spills out the open door, washing over your group. And he's just standing there with a kind of a morbid smile on his face. And then there is a roar from somewhere inside of this stadium. A deep, primal, animalistic howl. And you hear thundering making its way in your direction.
Can Joey open the can of beer and start spraying it towards the mist that's coming towards them?
Absolutely.
Trying to push it back. You want me to roll for that, or?
Yes. I would say it's probably only going to be one die.
And it's going to be Trying to think. Grace or force, knowledge or instinct, subtlety or flair, speed, control. Probably.
Speed could make sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I think speed makes good sense.
You got a 4, which he has a 4 in it.
Excellent. So he manages to prevent this gas from spraying on him much. But the beer is fairly limited in its amount of cover. So I'm going to say that he's able to basically prevent the gas from spraying on himself and one other person. Who is that other person?
Who's closest to him?
There were quite a few of you at the door.
Yeah, who's closest to him, though?
So I will leave that up to you guys.
I was going to say Billy probably leapt in at the guy, so probably not him. And Maria's probably still at the back.
Probably Maria is close to me.
No, she's probably still towards the back. She's been hanging behind the wall of people.
Okay.
Terry would have been waiting probably pretty close to you. I don't know if you'd be the closest, but he would at least be near.
All right, so Terry and I.
Okay. So you manage to counter spray, if you will, enough of this gas to prevent it from washing over Terry and Joey. This thundering sound and the successive howls and roars continue to get closer very, very quickly. Whatever is coming is doing so with great speed. What are you doing?
Billy had lunged at the guy and kind of like screamed, "You commie bastard!" And he is like pummeling this guy's face. So maybe, force would always make sense. Speed.
This guy is not going to be putting up much of a fight. He seems to have resigned himself to this outcome, and it's not very long before Billy has him dealt with, whatever degree he's going to do that to.
I mean, Billy probably even goes too far and is punching this guy for like a minute before he realizes that he's not defending himself. And probably like, why aren't you defending yourself? Not really paying attention to the larger problem here. Maria is going to run back down the hallway.
Away from the security room?
Yeah. Down to like the corner.
Just to clarify, that would be running towards the approaching noise.
Oh, towards the exit. So she's not going to do that. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I would imagine that Ryan just charges towards him with the baseball bat and tries to hit him.
This individual that's inside the security room?
Correct.
Yeah, Billy seems to have very likely killed this guy. His face is kind of a mashy pulp.
Is there any equipment in the room?
Yeah, there's tons of stuff in here. Banks and banks of monitors and all kinds of control panels and things of that nature. In addition, there is also a cage kind of against the back wall that is locked. It looks like it has a padlock on the outside of it. But you can see that it has probably half a dozen assault rifles and magazines, things like that in it.
Wow. That could be over.
With seeing that, I think Carlos would go over there and just like put the barrel of the gun right next to the lock so he can shoot it off.
Okay. Yeah, he gives a couple of controlled bursts, and the lock is not strong enough to withstand it as it kind of tears it to shreds, falls apart, and he's able to open this cabinet.
Good. And then he would start hanging everybody again, even Billy's crazy ass.
Billy's looking at the monitors. Is there anything that I can see approaching the security room?
There's lots of movement kind of all around. These creatures are kind of everywhere. And a lot of them seem to be making their way towards the security room now. A lot of them seem to be actually kind of like sniffing the air and following some kind of scent trail. But there is something that's moving, but like it's moving so damn fast that these security cameras catch little more than just kind of a blur of movement. Whatever it is hauling ass.
Terry's not going to waste a whole lot of time sitting around. He has a gun already, so he's a little less concerned about getting into the cage than the others. Is this security room like a one-way hallway, or does it go further past the security room?
No, the hallway dead ends at the door of the security room, so it's definitely a one-way in, one-way out kind of thing.
Or better or worse, Terry is going to try to run back down the hallway towards the T-junction and go in the other direction. He's not necessarily going to run all the way down, but he's going to try to kind of hide off on that side and watch.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me another sneaky roll for him.
That is the old 3 successes.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, you find a pretty significant deep shadow to kind of duck yourself out of the way and disappear, from what you can tell at least.
We should lock that door. I think that thing is coming for us. And grab any weapons that are on those two. And this is Brian talking. Joey's just kind of in the moment considering the beers that he has left.
There's a crashing sound not far outside of the hallways, probably somewhere in the vicinity of the gift shop, as whatever this thundering thing is presses closer.
Joey goes over to one of the phones that is probably on like a Cisco network system and starts checking to see if it's active. And if not, he begins working to make it active, re-network it back to the network so that it has an outbound link.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't seem like it's currently active, so it's something he's going to have to work on, and he can certainly set about that task. So go ahead and roll probably a knowledge, I would think. And I would say he probably could qualify for 3 dice on that one. The door. Go ahead.
I was gonna say Carlos is gonna post up on like a corner, like against a wall, just ready for something to come in. And Jesus never really firing a gun before. He's just gonna be close to the security room, just holding the gun. And
Okay, but both of them are outside of the security room?
yeah.
Okay. All right. So Joey is reprogramming this phone, trying to get it to reconnect and supply a landline. And it seems like he's making progress. The rest of you are preparing for whatever's about to happen. Suddenly, the door that led into this series of hallways that brought you to this security room is, it sounds like, torn from its hinges. And you hear the thundering steps of a creature that enters the hallway and rushes this T-junction before all of you are able to get a clear view. This creature wears what looks like torn prison issue pants, is shirtless. Its eyes glow an angry red, and the hair that it has left is patchy. It is covered with Russian prison tattoos. It eyes those of you at the end of this section of hallway and takes a deep inhale and charges forward. Carlos, you said you had your gun readied.
Hell yeah, he's gonna unload it on that thing.
Okay. Carlos is a security guard, so he is absolutely an expert. And as well, I would say he's prepared. So go ahead and roll your 3 dice.
What am I rolling exactly?
You tell me. Is he taking controlled shots? Is he doing it just as fast as he can to put as much lead as he can into this thing?
I think I would do control.
Okay. Go ahead and roll it up.
Ooh, nice. I got 3 successes.
Okay. Let's see. This thing. Okay. So he got 2 successes. All right. So you managed to hit this thing square in the throat as it's charging down the hallway. And though that doesn't seem like enough damage to stop this thing, though it would stop any other normal living creature as far as you can tell, it definitely looks like it has caused him to leak this kind of dark maroon coagulated blood from the wound. And it has wounded him, though he still presses forward. I don't think that anybody else had actually readied a gun, as far as I'm recalling, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. No? Okay.
No, I'd say that Joey would have been shaking up a beer can, but no.
Yeah, I think Joey's probably pretty busy with the phones at the moment. Okay.
Yeah, then Jesus did, but I don't think Jesus would have seen him yet because he was by the door to the security room.
All right. So, Jesus, or rather Carlos, is the first person down the hall that this creature is going to be able to get to. and he closes the distance with surprising speed and is going to attempt his best to rend Carlos apart. Carlos, you have 2 attacks coming at you. So you're going to need to roll your health die twice.
And you said that was a D4?
Yes. Likewise, again, if you have any narrow escape points, you may spend those instead of rolling if you'd like.
I don't. And the first roll was a 2, which I'm sure does not.
Okay. Yes. So Carlos manages to sink a good wound on this creature, but moments after, this creature has bounded the distance between them and set himself upon Carlos and rips Carlos's head from his shoulders. Carlos's finger has probably barely stopped squeezing the trigger before he is dead, and his lifeless body collapses against the wall and slides to the floor. Is there anything else that anybody is going to try to do before this thing goes again?
Oh yeah, Billy's gonna react out of fear and fire. Probably do something similar to what he just witnessed. See this thing and shoot as many times as he can.
All right. Once again, Billy is, I'm sure, no stranger to automatic weapons. So go ahead and roll your 3 dice.
I'm rolling for instinct, just because I seen this thing, but I guess I really wasn't anticipating its speed. So when it all right, so I got a 5, 3, and a 10. So 2 successes, 1 failure.
Okay. So that is 1 additional potential hit. Let's see if this manages to wound him. Okay. It comes close, but it does not. Anyone else?
Yeah, Jesus is going to unload on him too.
Okay. Well, I think we already established that gunfire is not something that Jesus is necessarily comfortable with, but he is certainly prepared, so he can roll his 2 dice.
Can I use my speed for a shot? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. Just doing it as quick as he can.
Yeah, okay. I got 2 successes.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. So somehow Jesus manages to likewise get a shot in on this thing. Shoots him kind of in the torso. You're pretty sure that it would be a lung wound on a normal creature, but again, this thing persists. However, he is leaking that kind of coagulated blood from 2 holes now. Anyone else?
Yeah, I would imagine that Joey's going to throw a beer can at it, and it's going to be speed. He got a 4 and a 9, which a 4 is his actually neither are within, so he fails on both.
Oh, okay.
And Ryan is going to try to take a baseball bat to the skull. 796. So his force is 6. So he got 1 success, 2 failures.
I think it's okay. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if this thing has managed to. Okay, so this thing brings up its forearm, and Ryan's bat shatters against it, scraping this thing's flesh away as if it was almost like silly putty or wet clay, but it doesn't seem to faze it much. It glowers down at him. Are Terry and Maria staying put?
So Terry is on like the other side of the hallway, and he sees this thing just run up and tear someone's head off immediately. And also knowing that it slammed through the doors that were covered in zombies not too long before, is just gonna like his mind's just gonna like go blank. It's just like, oh fuck, oh shit, and he's gonna just start going the other direction down the other hallway. He's not messing with this thing. He's just gonna try to slink off in the other direction.
Right. So yeah, he kind of turns and starts making his way away from this situation as quickly as he can. Just about the time that he kind of turns and around a corner, he sees that there is a collection of these other undead that are starting to congregate at the end of the open doorway, or the hallway at the open door at the end of it. Okay. Maria is the only one who has not acted yet.
I think now that everyone has kind of like come to the front of this cage, there probably wasn't a whole lot of room for her to push in. Is there any space like beyond it, farther down the hallway?
No,
like
again,
away from this thing, or is this at like the pinnacle of this hallway?
Yeah, the hallway itself, this leg of the hallway dead ends right into the security room.
Gotcha. So I mean,
cage is
maybe
kind of a cabinet on the wall. So I mean, she might be able to get into it, but it would be really, really tight.
I'm just saying, like to the back of where everyone is at. Maybe she's small enough to squeeze between the sides or something. I don't know if she's had training with a firearm, so I'm not sure that's something she would have jumped on.
It's up to you. It's so, kind of do or die moment right now.
Yeah, I just feel like with everyone clogging the door, there wouldn't really have been room for her to shoot as well safely. So,
okay, this thing glowers down at Ryan and is going to see if it can't satiate its lust for carnage upon the baseball player. Okay, let's see. All right. So whenever Dave gets back, Ryan is going to have to roll twice on his health roll. I might just end up rolling it for him. Although he may have points that he can spend if he'd like. There he is. Okay, Dave. Ryan has 2 potential attacks coming at him. He's going to have to roll his health die twice, unless he wants to cash in some narrow escape points.
That's a D10 or D8?
It is a D4.
D4.
50-50 shot in this game.
And he can't call it after he's rolled, right?
Correct.
He's going to use one of his narrow escapes, and he's going to roll a 3 on the other.
Okay. So he manages to avoid this thing's wrath somehow, getting down low enough or up against the wall enough. This thing brings down its other hand, the opposite arm from where his baseball bat had just shattered across this thing's forearm. He brings his other fist up and down and actually takes out a chunk of the cinder block wall just above Ryan's head. So the brute has now gone. Anyone else like to take an action before he does so again?
Billy would like to reload and fire again if possible in the same turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Are we kind of like pinned in this room right now? I would imagine so. We're at the end of a dead end hallway.
Yeah. I mean, this thing is essentially in the only exit that you've got. So you might be able to squeeze past it, but it's going to be tricky to do so.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, forcefully trying to, not really a forcefully gun. Maybe just use it. I've used a gun before. My natural instinct with a gun to shoot this thing, in spots maybe where I think would do the most damage to it as a whole, not necessarily just the body.
Yeah, that makes good sense.
I got 2 successes, 1 failure.
Okay. Ooh, okay. So he's going to have to roll twice. He did not manage to slip that off. Okay, his first one drops his health down. Okay. So though it is another pretty grave wound, this one to the side of his face, kind of blowing off the lower jaw of his skull. His tongue kind of hanging down straight out of his throat like a gruesome necktie. He kind of turns towards Billy and kind of lets out another one of those guttural, like, anyone else?
I think Jesus is going to try to run by him and head towards the way that he had thrown the golf cart before.
So he's going to try to move past this thing and exit the hallway back out into the larger section. Okay. So trying to get past this thing is going to be a bit of a task. Effectively, you're going to have to try to either bully past it or try to roll past it or something along those lines. And it might be able to take a swing at you. So how would you like to try to bypass him?
I was just thinking speed, if possible.
Okay, just going to try to do it as fast as you can.
Yep.
All right. So go ahead and roll your dice. I would say this is probably a 2-dice situation because you're probably not prepared for this.
Alrighty. 1 second. Ooh, 2 successes.
2 successes. Okay. So he is going to roll a single die because you have removed the other 2 from him taking a swipe at you.
Yeah, I'll do a narrow escape if possible.
Yeah. So he did actually hit you with that 1 roll. So if you are going to spin your narrow escape, go ahead and describe to me how you managed to get past this thing as he takes a swipe at you but misses.
He was probably just he pretty much got ready and started sprinting, and he kind of like saw him moving, so he just jumped off to the side and kept going. Like he was just, you know, he was just really glitchy about it, like, you know, ready for something to come at him.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, he kind of swings wide once again and just collides with the cinder block wall, just kind of taking out a large portion of the surface of this hallway with his fist. But Jesus manages to get past him and kind of rounds the T-junction corner and is starting to head down the other leg of the hallway back out into the area where the golf cart was. And as he does so, he sees more of these zombies, not like this creature that you're facing now, but like the ones that you saw earlier. Several of them are starting to congregate at the destroyed door and are starting to make their way into the hallway at the end. Anyone else?
Yeah, I think that Joey kind of looks at the situation and sees the announcer's microphone that's at on the desk there. Is there a microphone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And he yanks the wires out of it and attempts to shove it into the guy's neck. That is probably going to be speed.
Okay.
You got a 5 out of 4. I'm sorry, a 5 out of 5.
Okay, excellent.
So you got a narrow escape, but he tries to shove these, you know, the wires into his neck, and he's thinking they're electrified. So
yeah, did you only roll the one die?
Well, what I was saying is that I rolled I only rolled a 1.
Go ahead and roll 2 more.
Okay. So a 6 and a 10.
And you were rolling which one again? Speed?
Speed of 5. So
Okay.
you got a 1 success and then a 10 is a non-success. So
okay. So that is 2 successes. All right.
Yep.
Let's see here. Okay, he only rolled 1 to ignore it. So okay. So you shove these wires into his neck, and you know that there's electricity coming out of these cables because you can see it arc into the coagulated blood and the flesh of his neck. But he's still moving as if it was a tickle. Okay, so that's Joey, and we've taken care of Jesus.
yeah, so Ryan is going to try to baseball bat swing him.
He no longer has a baseball bat.
That's right.
I'll have to grab it from someone else or use a different weapon.
I think Maria had one.
Okay, so maybe Maria tosses him a baseball bat.
Sounds good.
Okay, excellent.
So he's using force. His force is 6.
Mm-hmm.
And his rolls were a 9, a 10, and a 2.
Okay, so we got 1 success.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. Okay, well, he failed. Okay. So, Ryan, how do you kill this thing?
Wow, he is actually just freaking out. He's just seeing the moment, and he looks around and he looks over at Maria, and Maria is holding this bat, and he's like, holding his hands up like, gimme, gimme. And she throws him the bat, and he just picks it up and just does one of those signature baseball moves where they go to knock the ball out of the park. And he cracks the thing on the head, and you see this head just disconnect from the body and just sort of fly against the wall and just hit and fall as the body just sort of falls to the ground and starts convulsing.
And this enormous creature slumps to the floor. No more. But it doesn't seem like the heroes are necessarily out of trouble yet, as more of these zombies, a veritable sea, start to press in on this hallway. And I think as we see them readying themselves for this wave of undead, we probably cut to the exterior of the stadium, where we see a gated entrance kind of push slightly open, and we see the lithe figure of Terry kind of slip out and duck away down the street. And that is it, guys. That's all we've got. So thank you very, very much for playing. Thank you for sticking with us. Baron, I know it's rough, and for you as well, Jose. I appreciate you guys playing so much. I appreciate anybody who has tuned in this evening to give us a watch, or who may be tuning in later on to watch this. Thank you very, very much. And I'm going to toss it very quickly over to my players to do their outros before I wrap this up and call it a night. So that we can get our East Coasters off to bed, tucked away nice and sound. Barrett, why don't you go first?
You baby me, Jeremy, you really do. My name's Baron. I'm at RWD Gaming. I played a few characters this evening, but I had fun. I love the Expedition Engine. I've played it quite a few times, so every time I have it, it's another awesome game.
Excellent. And always a pleasure, Baron, always. So thank you very, very much for playing. If you want to sign off and go to bed, I totally understand. Jose, you're up next.
Hey everybody, my name's Jose. I got the YouTube channel D20 and I definitely have fun tonight. Kind of sucked that Carlos went down, but it's always fun playing with you guys, and I definitely like the Expedition Engine. It's always fun.
Excellent, as always. Thank you, Jose. I appreciate having you back on the channel. Thank you very much for hanging out with us. Once again, if you need to go, I totally understand. Thank you, and we'll see you around. Next up is Dave.
Hey, folks. Dave with Mournblade Gaming. I can speak. I know I can. And tonight I was playing Ryan and Joey Diggs. And yeah, a lot of fun. Zombies. Trying to figure out what was going on in this house. Still don't think we know. But I think that Ryan is probably going to kill Billy Diggs in the long run. Diggins. But could be the... What were you going to say, Baron?
I just don't have the energy to banter anymore. I would love to, but I can't. It won't be good. It'll be bad.
All right. It was good to finally play with Jeff again. I haven't played with him for a while. But a week from yesterday, we got another game scheduled. So looking forward to that. Otherwise, good game. Thank you, Jeremy.
Always a pleasure, Dave. Thank you very much. Yes, next week on Monday, Ashes of Heaven returns after we've had about a 2-month break. So I am very excited to be able to get back into that. So last but certainly not least, Jeff.
Yes, I'm Jeff. I have a YouTube channel in Counterbalance where I run all my games. I also do a podcast with Jeremy and Chad Nick called The Dudes of Yore. So please check that out and give it some love. Yeah, it was fun to play Terry and be the one who got away, which was my plan all along, was to ditch you guys to survive. So I'm glad it paid off.
Yep. Sometimes cowardice is the best approach. But yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you, Jeff. Thank you very much for coming back. Like I said, all of these fine players, I have links to their channels in the description of this video down below. Please go over to their channels, check out their stuff. All of them are fantastic players and fantastic GMs. So go check them out. I also have a link to the Dudes of Yore podcast. Please actually go check that out. We would love to have your comments, likes, subscriptions, all that good stuff. So thank you very much once again for another Expedition Engine. This has been Die Hard Fans, Extra Innings. Thank you all for tuning in. And until next time, may your dice roll high and your snacks always be within reach.